I'd like to welcome you on behalf of St. Augustine High School to our brand new theater here at the Remit Center. My name is David Burnett. I am one of the helpers here in the play, and one of my guys up in the booth. Thanks for all the help for everybody that has put a lot of time into this. It's been monumental. And we are about to begin the show, so I just have a few reminders for you, just as a normal theater would. Just a few things. If you all could please turn off your phones. This is a request of mine personally, because there are a lot of electronics in here that may interfere just slightly. And then also no photography of any kind. Also no video and no sound recording, please. Also no food or drinks in the theater. If you wish to eat food or drink, you're more than welcome to join us in the lobby. And now, just for a few reminders, there are a few special effects in the show. So if you are worried about that, there may be some lighting and some sound cues. So other than that, enjoy. Here is You Can't Take It With You from St. Augustine High School's Drawing Department.
No, I wasn't. Oh, wait until you see the new rockets. Gold stars, then blue stars, then bombs, and then a balloon. Mr. DePinna thought of the balloon.
Oh, sounds lovely. Did you do that all day?
Sure. We made a... Oh, here we are. Look, Penny, cost us 18 cents to make, and we can sell them for 50. How many do you think we can make before the 4th of July, Mr. DePinna?
Well, we got 2 weeks yet. What day are you going to take this stuff up to Mount Vernon?
About a week. You know, we're going to need a larger booth this year. Got a lot of stuff made up. Come on, we're not through yet.
Oh, Mr. Sycamore. I'm afraid the powder chamber is just a little bit too close to the balloon.
Oh, well, we got the bombs and the stars in between.
Oh, no, No, but that don't give the balloon time enough. A balloon needs plenty of time.
Come on. Let's go down in the cellar and try it.
Oh, Mr. DePinna,
Yep.
if a woman you loved entered a monastery, what would you do?
Gee, I don't know. It's been an awful long time.
What? Oh, I don't know, Reba. Maybe.
Well, I set a place for her, but she's only been home one night this week.
Yes, I know.
You know, Miss Essie's been collecting new candy. She's doing something with coconut.
That's fine.
Let's see. 6 and Mr. DePinna, and Mr. Kulinkoff comes and Miss 8, don't we? Yes, I'd better set for 8.
Reba, I think I'm going to put this play away for a while and go back to the war play.
Oh, I've always liked that one. The war play. Boom, boom.
They'll be better when they're harder, Mother, but try one. I want to know what you think. Oh, they look lovely. What do you call them? I think I'll call them love dreams. That's nice. I'm going back to the war play, Essie. Oh, are you, Mother? Yes, I sort of got myself into a monastery and I can't get out. Well, it'll come to you. Remember how you got out of that brothel? The snakes look hungry. Did Reba feed them? I don't know. Reba, did you feed the snakes today?
No, Donald's coming and he's bringing flies with him.
Well, make sure you feed them before Grandpa gets home. You know how fussy he gets about them.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, and take Groucho and Harpo into the kitchen. I believe I'll have another love dream.
Mr. DePinna was right about the balloon. Too close to the powder.
Want to love your father? They're on the desk.
No thanks, I gotta wash.
I'm going back to the foreplay, Paul.
Oh, that's nice. We're putting some red stars after the bombs and then the balloon. That ought to do it.
You know, Mr. Kolinko says I'm his most promising pupil. You'd think, with 40 monks and 1 girl, that something would happen.
Essie! Hey, Essie, listen to this a minute.
I like that, Ed. Did you write it?
No, Beethoven.
Lovely. Got a lot of you in it. I made those new candies this afternoon, Ed.
Yeah?
You can take them around tonight.
All right. Yeah, here's the finish. This is me. How's that, Essie?
Fine, Ed. Remember when Kolinkoff comes, will ya? Ed, why don't you and Essie have a baby? I was thinking about it just the other day.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we could have one if you wanted us to. How about it, Essie? Do you want to have a baby?
Oh, I don't care. I'm willing if Grandpa is.
Let's ask him.
Labor play, religious play, sex play. I know it's here someplace.
I was right about the balloon. It was too close to the powder chamber.
Do you need anything printed out, Mr. DePinna? How about some more calling cards?
No thanks. I've still got the first 1,000.
We'll call in somebody, will ya?
All right.
Reba, what's for dinner? I'm ready to print out the menu.
Let's see. Cornflakes, watermelon, some Miss candy Miss Essie made, and some type of meat. I forget.
I think I'll set it up in boldface Cheltenham tonight. You know, if I'm going to go around selling those new candies, I'd better print up some descriptive matter after dinner.
Oh, do you think anybody reads those things, Ed, that you put in the candy boxes? Here it is. The war play. Poison gas.
Whoa.
I guess that's Donald. Look at Reba smile.
The boyfriend, eh, Reba?
Oh, they're so cute, Donald and Reba. Sort of like Mickey and Minnie.
Oh, Reba. Donald.
Evening, everybody.
Hey, Donald, how have you been?
Pretty good, Mr. Rand. How have you been, Mrs. Sycamore?
Oh, very well, thank you. Donald,
Yes, ma'am?
were you ever in a monastery?
No, I don't go a place much. I'm on the leap.
Oh,
Here's the flies. Got a whole minute from today.
you sure did.
I see you're still working hard, Mrs. Sycamore.
Oh, yes, indeed, Donald.
How's Grandpa?
Oh, he's fine. At Columbia this afternoon. Graduation exercises.
You're sure to roll by.
And see, what's he going for all the time, Penny?
I don't know. It's so handy, just around the corner.
Oh,
Donald, Mr. DePinna and I are taking the fireworks up to Mount Vernon this week. You think you could give us a hand?
Oh, sure. Only the government finds out I'm working, they'll get solar.
Oh. Ed, I got a great idea in the bathroom just now. I was reading Trotsky. It's yours, isn't it?
Yeah, I left it there.
Who is it?
You know, Trotsky from the Russian Revolution.
Oh.
Anyhow, it struck me that it was a great idea for a fireworks display. You remember the last days of Pompeii?
Yes. Palisades Park. That's where we met.
Well, I'm gonna do the revolution. A full-hour display.
Say,
Oh, that's wonderful!
The red flag is the flag, huh? Sure, and the Tsar and the
the
Cossacks.
Battle of the Alamo?
No, Donald. The Russian Revolution.
Oh, Grandpa?
Well, sir, you should have been there. That's all I can say. You should have been there.
Oh, was it a nice graduation, Grandpa?
Wonderful. And much funnier speeches than they had last year. You don't know how lucky you are. You're snakes.
Good class this year, huh, Grandpa? How many were there?
Oh, it must have been 2 acres. Everybody graduated. And much funnier speeches.
If you want to hear a good speech, you go up and hear Father Vine.
Oh, I'll wait. They'll have them at Columbia.
Oh, Donald, will you go tell Reba that Grandpa's home now and we won't wait for Miss Alice?
Okay. Grandpa's home. We're not waiting for Miss Alice.
Oh, Grandpa, we made a new rocket stage. Just wait till you see it.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Grandpa.
Evening, Mr. DePinna.
Didn't we make a fine rocket today, Mr. DePinna?
We certainly did.
You know, I wonder why they haven't got fireworks at graduations.
Don't make enough noise. You put a good graduation order up there, he'll drown out a whole carload of fireworks and say just as much, too.
Oh, don't the graduates ever say anything?
No, they just sit there in cap and nightgown, get their diploma, and then along about 40 years from now, they suddenly say, "Where am I?"
Have a nice day.
Hello, have a nice day. Don't I even get a kiss?
Excuse me, Grandpa.
I'll take a tomato, too. You know, I could have used a couple of these this afternoon.
Father?
No, thanks.
Mother? Oh, no thanks, dear.
Play something, Ed.
All right.
There was a letter came for you, Grandpa. Did you get it?
Really? I don't know it.
It was for you, though. Had your name on it.
Really? Where is it?
I don't know. Where's Grandpa's letter, Mother? What, dear? Where's that letter that came for Grandpa last week? Oh, I don't know. I remember seeing the turtles on it.
Who is it from? Did you notice?
Yes, it was on the outside.
Well, but who was it?
The United States government.
Really? Wonder what they could have wanted.
And there was one before that, too. From the same people. There was a couple of them.
Well, if any more come, I wish you'd give them to me.
Yes, Grandpa.
You know, I think I'll go out to Westchester tomorrow and do a little snake hunting.
God is the state is God.
Well, what's that?
God is the state is God.
Who says that?
Trotsky.
Oh, well, that's all right. I thought you said it.
It's good for printing, you know. Good and short. G-O-D.
And so the beautiful princess comes into the palace and kisses her mother. Oh, hello, dear.
Her father
Hello, Alice.
and her grandfather.
Evening, darling.
Hi, Grandpa. And what do you think? They turned into the Sycamore family. Are you surprised?
Oh, Alice, I like it.
Do you?
It's new, isn't it? Oh, nice and summery. Where'd you get it?
Oh, I just took a walk during lunch hour.
You've been taking a lot of walks lately. That's the second new dress this week.
Oh, I just like to brighten up the office once in a while. I'm known as the K. Francis of Curbing Company. Anyhow, what's new around here in terms of plays, snakes, ballets, dances, fireworks? Dad, I bet you've been down in that cellar all day.
I'm going back to the war play, Alice.
Really, Mother?
And play Alice that Beethoven thing you wrote.
You know, you can mail a letter all the way from Nicaragua now for 2 pesetas.
Really?
And my my virginity is a priceless thing to me. Listen, people, hey, listen.
I'm not going to be home for dinner tonight because a young gentleman is calling for me.
Really? Who is it? Isn't that nice?
Now I've tried to get him from coming here, but he's calling for me.
Oh, why don't you both stay for dinner?
No. I want him to take you in easy doses. Now I tried to prepare him a little bit, but please, please don't make it worse than you can help. So that means Mother, don't read him any plays, and Grandpa, don't let any snakes bite him because I like him. Oh, Essie, I wouldn't dance with him because he's going from Monte Carlo Ballet.
Who is he? President of the United States?
No, he's Vice President of Kirby and Company, Mr. Anthony Kirby Jr.
The boss's son? Wow.
The boss's son, just like in the movies.
That explains the new dresses.
And I'm coming home to dinner for 3 weeks.
Why, Sherlock Holmes?
Are you going to marry him?
Yes, tonight. Meanwhile, I have to go upstairs and put on my wedding dress.
Is he good looking?
Yes, in a word. Oh, dear, what time is it?
I don't know. Anybody know what time it is?
Oh, Mr. DePinna might know.
It was about 5 o'clock a couple hours ago.
I have to know better than to ask you people. Will you just let me know the minute he comes, please?
Yes, dear.
Yes, I know, but I mean the minute he comes.
Oh, but of course.
Well, be sure.
Well, what do you think of that?
She certainly seems to like it.
Oh, wouldn't it be wonderful if she married him? We could have the wedding right in this room.
Now, Penny, this is only the first time he's called for the girl.
You only called for me once.
Well, young people are different nowadays.
Well, I don't know. Look at Ed and me. He came over to dinner once and just stayed. Anyhow, I think it's wonderful, don't you, Grandpa?
She looks very happy about it.
He must be crazy about her. Maybe he's the one that's taking her out every night. Oh, that must be him. Don't worry, Reba. I'll answer it. Now, remember what Alice said and be very nice to him.
Let's take a look at it.
Well, welcome to our little home.
How do you do?
I'm Alice's mother. Now, do come in. Here we are. We've been expecting you. Now, this is Grandpa and Alice's father and her sister and her husband. Oh, there. Now, give me your hat and make yourself right at home.
I'm afraid you're making a mistake.
Oh, how's that?
My card?
Oh, Wilbur C. Henderson, Internal Revenue Department.
That's right.
What can we do for you?
Does Mr. Martin Vanderhoff live here?
Yes, sir. That's me.
Well, Mr. Vanderhoff, the government wants to talk to you on a little matter of income tax.
Income tax?
Mind if I sit down?
No, go right ahead.
Thank you.
Mother, is that Mr. Kirby? Oh, no, dear! It's an infernal something or other. Excuse me.
Just Sycamore, what is it? Oh, excuse me.
Look, these things are not going off.
It's not here, Mr. DePinna. Grandpa's busy.
Oh!
Pardon me.
Now, Mr. Vanderhoff, we've given you several letters about this, but you haven't had any reply.
Oh, that's what those letters were.
I told you they were from the government.
According to our records, Mr. Vanderhoff, you have never paid income tax.
That's right.
Why not?
I don't believe it.
Well, you own property, don't you?
I do.
And you receive yearly income from it.
That's right.
Between $3,000 and $4,000.
About that.
You've been receiving it for years.
Yes, 1901 if you want the exact date.
Well, the government's only concerned from 1914 on. That's when income tax started.
Well,
Well, it seems, Mr. Vanderhoff, you owe the government 24 years back income tax.
Wait, just a minute. You can't go back that far. That's not long.
What's your name?
What difference does it make?
About income tax return?
No, sir.
What was your income last year?
It was $28.50, wasn't it, Essie?
Yes, sir.
If you please. Now, Mr. Vanderhoff, you know there's quite a penalty for not filing an income tax return.
Penalty?
Look, Mr. Henderson, let me ask you something.
Well,
Suppose I pay you this money. Mind you, I don't say I'm going to pay it, but just for the sake of argument. What's the government going to do with it?
how do you mean?
Well, say I go into Macy's and buy something. There it is, I see it. What's the government give me?
Why, the government gives you everything. It protects you.
What from?
Well, invasion. Foreigners might come over here and take everything you've got.
Oh, I don't think they're going to do that.
If you didn't pay income tax, they would. How do you think the government keeps up the Army and Navy? All those battleships?
Battleships? Why, we haven't used battleships since the Spanish-American War. And what did we get out of it? Cuba. And we gave that back. I wouldn't mind paying if it were something sensible.
Sensible? What about the Congress and the Supreme Court and the President? We've got to pay them, don't we?
Not with my money? No, sir.
Now, wait a minute. I'm not here to argue with you. All I know is you have not paid your income tax and you have got to pay it.
They've got to show me.
We don't have to show you. I just told you. All those buildings down in Washington and interstate commerce and the Constitution.
But the Constitution was paid for long ago. And interstate commerce, what is interstate commerce?
There are 48 states. See? And if there weren't interstate commerce, nothing could go from one state to another. See?
Why not? They've got fences.
No, they haven't got fences. They've got laws. My God. I've never come across anything like this before.
Well, I might pay you about $75, but that's all it's worth.
You will pay every cent of it just like everyone else.
Essie, listen to this.
And let me tell you something else. You go to jail if you don't pay, you hear that? That is the law. If you think you're any bigger than the law, you've got a very big coming. You should know better than anyone else. And the sooner you get it through your head, the better. You will all get the United States government, and that's all I can say. Snakes!
About those snakes.
How was that, Essie?
Fine, Ed.
How did that sound to you folks?
I like it.
My goodness, he was mad, wasn't he?
Oh, it's not his fault. It's just the whole thing is so silly.
Oh, he forgot his hat.
Say, what size is that?
Oh, 7 1/8.
Just right for me.
This must be Mr. Kirby.
Better make sure this time.
Yes, I will. How do you do?
Good evening.
Is this Mr. Anthony Kirby Jr.?
Why, yes.
Oh, do come in, Mr. Kirby. Expecting you. Now, this is the real Mr. Kirby. Now, this is Alice's grandfather, and Mr. Sycamore, and her sister Essie, and Essie's husband Ed Carmichael. Oh, there. Now you know all of us. Now just make yourself right at home.
Thank you.
Mother, is that Mr. Kirby? Oh, yes, dear. Oh, he's lovely. Oh, do sit down, Mr. Kirby.
Thank you. I hope I'm not keeping you all from dinner, am I?
Oh, no, not at all. Take a tomato.
No thank you.
Oh, how about some candy?
No thanks.
Oh, and this is a Mr. DePinna. Mr. Kirby, Mr. DePinna.
Wait, wasn't I reading about your brother in the newspaper the other day? Didn't he get indicted or something?
Hardly that. He just testified before the Securities Commission.
Oh.
Why, yes, I'm sure there was nothing crooked about it, Mr. DePinna. As a matter of fact, Alice has often told us what a wonderful man your father is.
Well, I know Father couldn't get along without Alice. She knows more about the business than any of us.
You're awful young, Mr. Kirby, to be vice president of a big place like that.
Well, you know what that means, vice president. All I have is a desk with my name on it.
That's all? You don't get any salary?
Well, a little. More than I'm worth, I'm afraid.
Oh, now you're just being modest.
Sounds kind of dull to me, Wall Street. Do you like it?
Well, the hours are short, and I haven't been there very long.
Just out of college, huh?
Yes, well, I knocked around for a while first. Just sort of had fun.
What do you do? Travel?
For a while, yes. Oh, then I went to Cambridge for a year.
England.
That's right.
Sick. What's an English graduation like? Did you see any?
Oh, very impressive.
They are, huh?
Anyhow, now the fun's over and I'm facing the world.
Well, you certainly got a good start, Mr. Kirby. Vice President and a rich father. Now I suppose you're all ready to settle down and get married?
Now, Penny, I'm sure Mr. Kirby knows his own mind.
I wasn't making up his mind for him, was I, Mr. Kirby?
Not at all, Mrs. Sycamore.
You see?
You mustn't rush him, Mother.
All I'm saying is he's bound to get married sooner or later, and suppose the wrong girl gets him.
Well, here I am, a vision in blue. Apparently you've had the time to get acquainted.
Well, why, yes, we were having a lovely conversation about love and marriage.
I'm so sorry, I came down as fast as I could.
I didn't mind it in the least.
Oh, damn those flies in the kitchen. Oh, Alice, you look beautiful. Where are you going? I'm going out, Reba. Stepping up. That must be Kalinka. I think we better go, Tony.
All right?
Grandpa, do you take cream in your cornflakes?
Half and half, Donald.
Oh, all right.
Oh, Rapishka, Melody Rapishka!
Yes, sir, Mr. Kalinka.
Oh, that's Kalinka, all right.
Ah, Grandpa, I have news from Russia. Second 5-year plan is failure.
I'm practicing today, Mr. Kalinka.
With Pavlova.
Well, if you'll excuse us, Mr. Kalinka.
Ah, my little Alice. Never ever seen you look so magnificent.
Thank you. Oh, Tony, this is Mr. Kalinka as his dancing teacher. Mr. Kalinka, Mr. Kirby.
How do you do?
Rasputin, yes.
Well, if you'll excuse us, Mr. Kalinka, we're going to the Monte Carlo Ballet tonight.
The Monte Carlo Ballet. It stinks.
Well, goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Good night. I'm so glad to have met you all.
The Monte Carlo Ballet.
Oh, isn't Mr. Kirby lovely? Oh, come on, everybody. It's time for dinner.
Well, I thought he was a nice fellow. Did you, Essie?
And so good looking. And such nice manners. Oh, did you notice Paul? Did you notice his manners?
I certainly did. You were getting pretty personal with him.
Oh, now, Paul.
He looks like a cousin of mine.
Bah! The Eclipse, and then you had the ballet.
I think that if they get married here, I'll put the altar right where the snakes are. You wouldn't mind, Grandpa, would you?
Not as long as the snakes don't.
Oh, no, they'll probably want to get married in the church, his family and everything.
Quiet, quiet, everybody. Quiet, quiet. Well, sir, we've been getting along pretty good for quite a while now, and we're certainly much obliged. Remember, all we ask is to go along and be happy in our own special sort of way and keep our health. But as far as anything else is concerned, we'll leave it to you. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, who wants tomatoes? Take tomatoes.
Ah, get the struggle. Wait till I tell you about this, but you all asshole. Ah, Rapishka, sit here.
Now, what have we got for dinner? I'm hungry.
Yes.
I could see them dance every night of the week. I think they're marvelous.
Oh, they are, aren't they? But of course, just stepping inside any theater gives me a thrill.
Well, it's been so lovely, Tony. I hate to have it over.
Oh, is it over? Do I have to go right away?
Not if you don't want to.
I don't.
All right. Would you like a cold drink?
Wonderful.
I'll see you in the icebox. Would you like to come along?
I'd follow you to the ends of the earth.
Oh, just the kitchen's enough.
Why, you've done it very simply, haven't you?
Oh yes, we didn't know whether to do Empire or Neo-Grecian.
So you settled for Frigidaire.
Oh yes, it's so easy to live with. Lucky you're not hungry, Mr. K. An icebox full of cornflakes.
Oh.
That gives you a rough idea of the sycamores.
Why,
They make these bottle openers for singer midgets. I never did. All over my coat.
I'll take mine in a glass, if you don't mind.
There you are, a foaming beaker.
Anyhow, it's cold.
Now, if you'll please be seated, Miss Sycamore, I'd like to offer a toast.
I am seated.
Oh, Miss Sycamore, to you.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby. To you.
You know something?
What?
I wouldn't trade 1 minute of this evening for all the rice in China.
Really?
Cross my heart.
Is there much rice in China?
Terrific. Didn't you read the gutter? Well, I suppose I ought to go.
Is it very late?
Yes, very. I don't want to go.
I don't want you to.
All right, I'll stay. So, when do you take your vacation?
Last week's in August.
I might take mine then, too.
Really?
What are you going to do?
I don't know. I haven't thought much about it.
Going away, do you think?
I might not. I love the city in the summertime.
I do, too.
But you always go up to Maine, don't you?
Oh, that's right. But I'm sure I would like the city in the summertime if... Oh, you know what I mean, Alice. I'd love it if you were here.
Well, it'd be nice if you were here, Tony.
You know what you're saying, don't you?
What?
That you'd rather spend the summer with me than anybody else?
Was I?
Well, if it's true about the summer, how would you feel about the winter?
Yes, I like that too.
Then there's spring and autumn. If you could see your way clear about those, Miss Sycamore.
I might.
I guess that's the whole year. We haven't forgotten anything, have we?
No.
Well then.
Is that you, Alice? What time is it? Oh, Mr. Kirby! I had no idea. That is, I didn't mean to interrupt anything.
Not at all, Mrs. Sycamore.
No, Mother.
I just came down for a manuscript. Then you two can go right ahead. Here it is. Sex takes a holiday. Well, good night, Tony.
Good night, Mrs. Sycamore.
Oh, I think you can call me Penny. Don't you, Alice? At least, I hope so.
What's that?
Oh, that's just Father.
Oh, this time of night?
Any time of night. Any time of day.
You know something? You're more beautiful, more lovely, more adorable than anyone else in this whole world.
Don't, Tony.
What? My dear, just because you're mother, all mothers are like that, Alice. And Penny's a darling. You see, I'm even calling her Penny.
I don't mean that. Listen, this is something I should have told you a long time ago, but I didn't have the courage to. The reason why I let myself be swept away is because I loved you so.
Darling.
No, wait, Tony. You and I are from two different worlds, from two different crowds. And, oh, I don't mean money or socially, that's too silly, but your family and mine, it doesn't work, it wouldn't work.
All right, have it your way. She can't dance. That's why they pay her all that money, because she can't dance.
Well, I don't call that dancing what she does. Oh, how was the ballet?
It was fine, Essie.
Wonderful.
Hello there.
Hello.
Look, what do you people think? Ed and I just saw Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Do you think she can dance, Mr. Kirby?
Why, yes, I always thought so.
What does she do anyhow? Now look, you're Fred Astaire, I'm Ginger Rogers.
Essie, please.
I'm only gonna use it for a minute. Now look, Mr. Kirby.
Essie, you're just as good as Ginger Rogers. We all agree.
You see, Ed?
Yeah. Come on, Essie, we're butting in here.
Oh, they've been together all evening. Good night, Mr. Kirby.
Good night, Mrs. Carmichael.
Good night, Alice. Good night.
Good night. Essie, did you ask Grandpa about us having that baby?
Oh, yes. He said to go right ahead.
You see? That's what it would be like.
I didn't mind that. Anyhow, we're not going to live with your family. It's just you and I.
No, it isn't. It's never quite like that. I love them, Tony. I love them deeply, and I know they do rather strange things, but
talk as though only you could understand them. That's not true. Why, every family has its curious little traits. What of it? My father raises orchids at $10,000 a bulb. Is that sensible? My mother believes in spiritualism. That's just as bad as your mother writing plays, isn't it?
It goes deeper, Tony. Your mother believes in spiritualism because she can afford to, because she's fashionable. And your father can raise orchids because he can afford to. My mother writes plays because 8 years ago, a typewriter was delivered here by mistake. And look at Grandpa. 35 years ago, he went up to his office and then came right back down. He just stopped. He could have been a rich man, but he said it took too long. So for the past 35 years, he has just collected snakes, gone to circuses, and graduations. It never occurs to any of them.
Oh, hello, children.
Good evening, Mr. Vanderhoff.
How's the weather? Certainly seems like a nice summer evening.
It's lovely, Grandpa.
Well, I'm off. I've got a date with the policeman on the corner. Oh, yes. We've got a standing date. 12:30 every night. Known him since he was a boy. He's really a doctor. But after his graduation, he told me he didn't want to be a doctor. He always wanted to be a policeman. So I said, you be a policeman if that's what you want to be. And that's what he did. How do you like my new hat?
Oh, it's very nice, Mr. Vanderhoff.
Yeah, I like it. The government gave it to me.
Oh, I didn't realize it was still in here. You left Aaron some candy. Here, you don't want any more, do you?
No, Donald.
Did you hear the nice thing?
Yes, Donald.
Family nice?
Yes, Donald.
Not nice.
Yes, Donald.
That's nice.
Now do you see what I mean? Could you explain Donald to your father? Could you explain Grandpa? The fact is, Tony, that you couldn't. I love you, Tony, but this is no use.
There's only one thing you said that matters. That makes any sense at all. You love me.
But Tony, I know so well.
Darling, don't you think other people have had the same problem? Everyone has a family.
But not like mine.
That doesn't stop people who love each other. Darling, won't you just trust me and go on loving me and forget everything else?
How can I?
Because nothing can keep us apart. You know that. You must. They want you to be happy, don't they? They must.
Of course they do, Tony, but they're not going to change. I wouldn't want them to.
They won't have to change. They're charming, lovable people just as they are. Everything will work out. You're worrying about something that may never even come up.
Tony, am I?
All that matters right now is that we love each other. That's so, isn't it?
Yes?
Well then.
Tony. Tony.
Darling. Now, I'd like to see a little gaiety around here. Young gentlemen calling and getting engaged and everything.
What should I say?
Well, first you thank the young man for getting engaged to you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kirby, for getting engaged to me.
Then you tell him what it was about him that first took your girlish heart.
It was the back of your head.
Huh?
Yes, it wasn't your money or your charms. It was the back of your head.
Well, what happened when I turned around?
Oh, I got used to it.
Oh. Alice, think of it. We're pretty lucky, aren't we?
I know I am. I'm the luckiest girl in the world.
I'm not exactly unlucky myself. Well, I suppose I ought to. Good night, darling, until tomorrow.
Good night.
Alice, think of it. We're pretty lucky, aren't we, to work in the same office. Otherwise, I'd be hanging around here all day.
Won't you be funny in office tomorrow? Going on as though nothing has happened?
Thank God I'm vice president. I can dictate to you all day. Dear Miss Sycamore, I love you, I love you, I love you.
Oh, darling, you're such a fool.
Why don't you meet me in the drugstore in the morning, before you go up to the office? I'll have millions of things to say to you.
All right.
And then lunch, and then dinner tomorrow night.
Tony, what are people going to say?
It's gotta come out sometime.
In fact, if you know a good house top, I'd like to do a little shouting.
Yes, sir, Mr. DePinto, we did a good night's work.
Oh, we certainly did. That's what? 500 Black Panthers, 300 willow trees, and 8 dozen junior kitty bombers?
Pretty good.
Not bad.
Oh, hello, Alice. You just come in?
No, I've been home quite a while.
Have a nice evening.
A lovely evening.
Say, I'd like you to take a look at this new red fire. Will you turn out the lights, Mr. DePinto? I want Alice to get the full effect.
What, Father?
Take a look at this new red fire. It's beautiful. Moment. There, isn't it beautiful?
Father, it's the most beautiful red fire in the world.
If the play opens, I never touch a drop. The minute I get to the stage door, the bottle gets put away. Until intermission, of course.
You've been on the stage a long time, Miss Wellington?
All my life, I played everything. Ever seen Peg of My Heart?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I saw it too. Good show. My. Hot night, ain't it? Want me to open a window, Miss Wellington? No. To hell with the weather. Say. He's cute.
Well, anytime you're ready, we can go over to my room and start. I thought we'd read the play up in my room.
All right, dearie, I'm ready. When I see snakes, it's time to lay down.
Oh dear, but those are real Miss Wellington. Those are cripples, but they're just snakes. Oh, I hope she's not going to. Miss Wellington!
She's out like a light.
Better let her sleep it off.
Do you think she'll be all right?
Yes, but I wouldn't cast her in the religious play.
I suppose I'll just have to wait.
Penny, the next time you meet an actress on the top of a bus, perhaps you should send her the play instead of bringing her home to read.
And I wish you'd stop printing and take those long dreams around. You gotta get back when Kalinka comes.
Kalinka coming tonight.
Yes, tomorrow night's his night, but I had to change it on account of Alice. Oh, isn't it exciting? You know, I'm so nervous. You'd think it was me he was getting engaged to instead of Alice. What do you think they'll be like, his mother and father? And what are you doing now?
Penny, did you see the new mask I made last night? Guess who it is?
Don't tell me now, Ed. Wait a minute. Helen of Troy!
It's Mrs. Roosevelt.
You know, the nice thing about this piano sets is you can make so many different things. Last week it was the Empire State Building.
What is it this week?
Queen Mary.
Hasn't got the right hat.
Mr. DePinto, would you open the door and see if there's a man standing in front of the house? Well, the last 2 days when I've been out delivering candy, I think a man's been following me.
Ed, you're crazy.
No, I'm not. He follows me, and he scans and he watches the house.
Really? I'll take a look and see.
I don't see what anybody would follow you for, Ed.
Well, there's a lot of kidnapping going on, Grandpa.
Yes, but not of Ed.
Well, did you see him?
There's nobody out there at all.
Are you sure?
Positive. I just saw him walk away.
You see?
Might have been anybody walking along the street. I would hurry and get back.
All right.
Want to go down now, Mr. Sycamore? Finish packing up the fireworks?
Yeah, we gotta take the stuff up to Mount Vernon in the morning.
Mother, may
I borrow some paper? I'm making out a list for Reba tomorrow night.
Oh, yes, dear. Here's some.
Thank you. So I went over to your actress friend. Is she giving a performance?
Oh, no! She's not acting, Alice! She's really drunk.
Essie, you're gonna give Reba the kitchen all day tomorrow, right? Because she'll need it.
Of course, Alice, I'm going to start on some love dreams now, so I'll be way ahead.
Thanks, dear. Mother. I'm going to be home by 3 o'clock tomorrow night. Will you have everything down in the cellar by that time? You know, the typewriter, the printing press, the xylophone, the snakes.
And Miss Wellington.
And Miss Wellington. That'll give me enough time to set the table and arrange the flowers.
Yes, dear.
The Kirby's are certainly going to get the wrong impression of this house.
You'll do all that, won't you, Mother?
But of course.
Oh, and I think we better get cocktails ready around 7:15 just in case they happen to come a little early. I wonder if I should let Reba cook the dinner. Grandpa, what do you think?
Oh, Alice, from what I've seen of the boy, I'm sure the Kirby's are very nice people, and if everything isn't so elaborate tomorrow night, that's all right, too.
Darling, I'm not trying to impress them or pretend we are anything that we aren't. I just want everything to go off well.
No reason why it shouldn't, Alice.
We're all going to do everything we can to make sure it's a nice party.
I love you. You are the most wonderful family in the world. I think I'm the happiest girl in the world. I didn't know anyone could be so happy. Oh, this past week has just been like floating. He's so wonderful, Grandpa. I'm just seeing him. You don't know what it does to me.
Just seeing him, huh? Just seeing him for lunch and dinner, and until 4 o'clock in the morning, and at 9 o'clock the next morning you're there again. Just seeing him, huh?
I don't care. I'm in love. Reba! Reba!
Nice, isn't it? Nice to see her so happy.
Yes. I remember when I was engaged to Paul, how happy I was. And you know, I still feel that way.
Nice the way Ed and Essie get along too, isn't it?
And Donald and Reba, even though they're not married, do you suppose Mr. DePino will ever marry anyone, Grandpa?
Well, there's always Miss Wellington.
Dear, I wish he'd wake up. If we're going to read the play tonight.
Sycamore, look what I found. Huh? Remember?
Why, of course, it's my painting of you as the discus thrower. Look, Grandpa.
Why, Mr. DePino, you certainly aren't as muscular as you used to be.
Was it very noticeable? Aw, there's still some there.
Well, it was a long time ago, just before I stopped painting. Let me see. Oh, that's 8 years.
Who would have thought that? I wish you finished that sometime, Miss Sycamore.
Oh, well, I always meant to finish it, Mr. DePina, but I started writing a play one day, and that was that. I never painted again.
Just as well, too. I was going to have to strip next.
Who would have thought that the day I came to deliver the ice 8 years ago, that I was going to stay here?
The milkman was here for 5, just ahead of you.
I'll tell you, why did you leave?
Oh, he didn't leave. He died.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, he was such a nice man. Remember the funeral, Grandpa? We never knew his name, and it was kind of hard to get a certificate made.
Yes. What was the name we finally gave him?
Oh, Martin Vanderhoff, he gave him your name.
Oh, that's right.
And it was a lovely thought, because otherwise he never would have gotten all those flowers.
Certainly was, and it didn't cost me any. Haven't been bothered with mail, and I haven't had a telephone call from that day to this.
Yes. It was a really wonderful idea.
I wish you'd finish that someday, Miss Sycamore. I'd kind of like to have it.
You know what, Mr. DePina? I think I'll do some work on it right tonight.
Say, will you?
I don't think she's going to wake up anyhow. Oh, look. Mr. DePina, you go down into the cellar and put on your costume and bring up the easel. Is it all still down there?
I think so.
Now, where did I put my palette
Oh, Rabishka, my little Rabishka.
Yes, sir, Mr. Cooley.
Oh, why, hello, Mr. Coolidge. That's in the kitchen.
Madam Sycamore, I greet you. Now, Grandpa, What should I do about Rupishka? I keep telling her that she would make great dough dancer, but she laughs only.
No, Mr. Kulinkov, I couldn't get up on my toes. I got corn.
Rupishka, you can wear diamonds. She is a great woman, huh? What is that?
Oh, that's a picture of Mr. DePinna. Penny painted.
It stinks.
Oh, I know. How do you like that?
What is that?
She's an actress, friend of Penny.
Ugh, she's drunk, no?
Oh, she is drunk, yes. How are you, Klinkov?
Magnificent. Life is chasing around inside of me like a squirrel.
It is, huh? Anything new from your friend in Moscow?
I have just received a letter from him. They say for you a stamp.
Oh, thank you.
They have sent him to Siberia.
Really? How's he like?
He has escaped. He has escaped and gone back to Moscow. The Soviet government. I can take the whole Soviet government.
Sorry I'm late, Mr. Kulikov. I'll get into my dance clothes right away.
My Pavlova. Tonight we'll make something new. Da!
Let's see. Making any progress, Klinkov?
Confidentially, she stinks.
Well, as long as she's having fun.
You sure do tickle Reba, Mr. Kolnikov. She's laughed her head off in there.
She is a great woman. Donald, what do you think of the Soviet government?
What?
I want the wrong question. What do you think of this government?
Oh, I like it. I'm on relief, you know.
You like it?
Oh, yeah. Only I got to go to this place every week and stand in line for half an hour. Government ought to be run smoothly, don't you think, Grandpa?
Government ought to stop sending me letters. Want me to be at the United States Marshal's office Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Look at that.
Income tax. They've got you now, Grandpa.
Yeah, I'm supposed to pay him a lot of money so as to keep Donald on relief.
Really, Grandpa? Are you going to pay it from now on?
That's what they want.
So I can come here instead of going there?
No, Donald. I'm afraid you'll have to waste a full half hour of your time every week.
Well, I don't like that. Breaks up my week.
He should have been in Russia when the revolution came. There he would have stood in line. Red line. Grandpa, what have they done to Mother Russia? The Grand Duchess, Olga Katrina, cousin of Tsar. She is now a waitress in Chad's restaurant. Only yesterday I ordered baked beans from her. It breaks my heart, Grandpa. The crazy world we live in.
Oh, the world's not so crazy, Klinkov. It's the people in it. Life's pretty simple if you let it come to you. The trouble is, people forget that. I know I did. I was right in the thick of it. Fighting, scratching and clawing, regular jungle. And then it hit me. I wasn't having any fun.
Yeah. So you did what?
I relaxed, 35 years ago, that is. And I've been a happy man ever since.
Good evening, Mr. Kulinkov.
Alice, I have not seen you yet to present my congratulations.
Thank you.
May you be very happy and have many children. That is my prayer for you.
That's quite a thought, Mr. Kulinkov.
Love. Love is all that is left in the world, Grandpa.
Ah, yes. But there is plenty of that.
And soon Stalin will take that too. I tell you, Grandpa.
Seems so nice to get back into my art things again. Oh, they still look all right, don't they, Grandpa?
Yes, indeed.
Your breath of Paris, Madame Sycamore.
Oh, merci. Thank you, Mr. Kulinkov.
Oh, I didn't know he's running for the WPA.
Oh, no, Donald, you see, I used to pay all
Hey, it happened again! There was a fellow following me every place I went.
Oh, nonsense! And it's just your imagination.
No, it isn't. It happens every time I go out to deliver candy.
Maybe he wants a piece of candy.
It's all right for you to laugh, Grandpa, but he keeps on following me.
You do not know what following is. You see, in Mother Russia, everybody is followed. I was followed right out of Russia.
Of course! You see, Ed, the whole thing is just your imagination.
Oh, maybe.
Ah, here we are!
Where do you want?
Oh, put it over here.
Hey, for tonight's lesson, we do first movement of Scheherazade, huh?
Okay.
Mr. McKenna, has something happened to your figure during these 8 years?
I don't think there's any difference.
Oh, yes, Miss Wellington, yes. Sorry, Mr. Gleanup, I couldn't find my slippers.
Do not worry, my Pavlova. We have half night for it. Remember, art is achieved through perspiration.
Why, that's wonderful, Mr. Kolinkoff. Oh, did you hear that, Grandpa? Art is only achieved through perspiration.
Oh, yes, yes. But it helps if you have a little talent with it. Got to practice my darts. Only made 2 bullseyes last night. Got to do better than that.
Ready? We begin, huh? Now, pirouette. Pirouette. Come, it has been 8 years now. Pirouette. Finally, after 8 years. 8 years! All right, back to the music again for you. Now, Lasha. You cannot relax, Grandpa. You cannot relax with Stalin in Russia. The Tsar relaxed, and what happened to him?
He was too late.
Mr. Kolinkoff!
If the Tsar had not relaxed, then the Grand Duchess Olga Katrina would not be selling big things.
Mr. Kolinkoff!
Oh, I'm sorry, would you bother say that?
Mr. Penna, can you pull your stomach real quick? That's right.
Little freer. Little freer with hands. Little freer with music, too. Free. Free like free marionette. Free like this.
Good evening.
How do you do? Oh, how do you do?
Are we too early?
Oh, no. Come right in. Why, we're glad to see you.
Why, yes! Only we thought it was to be tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night?
What? Oh, now it's perfectly all right. Just come on in. Oh, allow me to introduce. This is Alice's mother, Mrs. Sycamore.
Oh, how do you do?
Alice's sister, Mrs. Carmichael. Mr. Carmichael. Mr. Kulinkov. and Mr. DePina.
How do you do?
How do you do? Don't mind my costume. I'll take it right now.
Mr. DePina, why don't you go downstairs and tell Mr. Sycamore to come up. Tell him that Mr. and Mrs. Kirby are here.
And make sure he puts his pants on.
I'll be right back.
I'll go up and tell Alice that you're... Alice! Will you come down, dear? We've got a surprise for you! Well...
Mrs. Kirby, allow me to take your ride.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
uncomfortable about this? Tony, how could you have done such a thing?
I'm sorry, Dad. I thought it was tonight.
That was very careless of you, Tony. Very.
Oh, now, anybody can get mixed up, Mr. Kirby.
Hey, how about some dinner for these folks? They've come for dinner, you know.
Oh, please don't bother. We're really not hungry
But
at
it's
all.
not a bit of a bother. Tell Donald to run down to the A&P and get half a dozen bottles of beer and some canned salmon. Do you like canned salmon, Mr. Kirby?
No, thank you, Mrs. Sycamore. I have a little indigestion anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry. How about you, Mrs. Kirby? Do you like canned salmon?
Oh, I'm very fond of it.
Oh, you can have frankfurters if you'd rather.
Either one will do.
Okay, make it frankfurters, some canned corn, and Campbell soup. Got that, Ed?
Okay.
And tell him to hurry! The A&P is just at the corner, and the frankfurters don't take any time to boil.
And this is Alice's father, Mr. Sycamore, Mr. and Mrs. Kirby.
I hope you'll forgive my appearance.
This is Mr. Sycamore's business time of year. Just before 4th of July, he always... Oh.
Darling, I'm the most dull-witted person in the world. I thought it was tonight.
Tony, I thought you... I'm so sorry. I can't imagine why it wasn't... have you all met each other?
Yes, indeed.
How do you do, Alice? How do you do, Mrs. Kirby? I'm afraid I'm not very presentable.
Darling, you look lovely.
Of course she does. Don't let this upset you, my dear. We've all just made each other right sooner, that's all.
Of course. But I was planning on such a nice dinner party tomorrow night.
Well, I guess we'll have to come again tomorrow night, won't we?
There you are, Alice.
Yes, so... We'd better see about getting some dinner.
Oh, that's all been taken care of, Alice.
Hi, Dan. Hi.
But Mother...
That's all been attended to.
But Mother, what did you send out for? Mr. Kirby has indigestion. He can only eat certain things.
Oh no, it's not as serious as all that.
I asked him what he wanted, Alice.
Yes, but...
It's fine, it's fine. I just have a little indigestion, that's all.
Perhaps, Mr. Kirby, it is not indigestion. Perhaps you have stomach ulcers.
Please, Mr. Playcroft.
Oh, you mustn't mind Mr. Klinkov, Mr. Kirby. He's a Russian, and Russians are inclined to look on the dark side.
All right, it is true, I'm Russian, but friend of mine, Russian, died. Stomach ulcers.
Really?
Please, Mr. Playcroft. Mr. Kirby has indigestion, and that's it.
All right, let them wait.
Please, Mr. Kirby, please take a seat.
Thank you.
Well,
Mr. Kirby, how are business conditions? Do you think we're pretty well out of the depression?
How's that? Yes, broadly speaking. Of course it all depends.
But you do think that things will keep on improving, don't you?
Well, as a matter of fact, industry is operating at 63% of full capacity.
That may seem a little strange to you people. She's an actress, a friend of Penny's. She came over and was overcome by the heat.
why, yes! Some people feel it, more than others. Perhaps I'd better see if she's all right. Excuse me, please.
Well, it is awful hot. You usually escape all this hot weather up in Maine, don't you, Mrs. Kirby? Hmm? Ah, yes. As a rule. However, I came down for the flower show.
Mother wouldn't miss that for the world. That blue ribbon is the high spot of her year.
I won a ribbon at a flower show once for raising onions. Remember, Alice?
That was a garden show, I see.
Oh, yes. I think she'll be all right now. Has Donald come back yet?
No, he hasn't.
Well, he'll be back any time now. I'm afraid you must be starved.
Oh no, quite all right. Oh, what's this? I didn't know there were any little children in the house.
Oh, no, that's mine.
Yes, well, of course. Yes, every man has his hobby. Do you use it as a model of some kind?
Oh, no, I just play with it.
I see.
You know, maybe you'd be better off if you had a hobby like that, Dad, instead of raising orchids.
Ha, well, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, do tell us about your orchids, Mr. Kirby. It'll take 6 years before one can blossom.
Some of them take even longer than that. I've been waiting for one that's been taking 10 years.
Oh, believe it or not, I was waiting for an orchid.
Oh, stop.
Well, during that time, they required the most scrupulous care. I remember a bulb I was quite fond of.
Here we are. Did you get everything done?
Oh yeah, only they didn't have any frankfurters, so I got a pickled pig's feet.
Never mind.
Okay.
Please do be kind about your orchids, Mr. Kirby. I'm sure they would love to hear it. And excuse me.
It's, quite an expensive hobby, Mr. Kirby, raising orchids.
Ah, yes, but a hobby gives one sufficient pleasure. It's never expensive.
That is very, very true.
You see, I need something to relieve the daily nerve strain. After a week on Wall Street, I'd go crazy if I didn't have something like that. Many men I know have yachts, just for that very reason.
But why don't they give up Wall Street?
How's that?
Oh, I was just joking.
I think it's necessary for everyone to have a hobby. Except for me, it's more than just a hobby. But my great solace is spiritualism.
Spiritualism? Why, Mrs. Kirby, everybody knows that's fake.
To me, Mrs. Sycamore, spiritualism is, well, I'd rather not discuss it with you, Mrs. Sycamore.
Remember, Penny, you've got one or two hobbies of your own.
Yeah, but not silly ones.
Now, Penny, it doesn't matter what the hobby is. The important thing is to have one.
To be ideal. A hobby should improve body as well as mind. The Romans were a great people. Why? What was their hobby? Wrestling. You see, in wrestling, you must act quick with body as well as mind, huh?
Ah, yes, well, I'm afraid that wouldn't be very practical for most of us. I wouldn't make a very good chauffeur wrestler now, would I?
Nonsense, Braduca, you are built for it.
How's that?
Come, let me show you. Now, here, first you must get ready.
Mr. Collins,
Father, are you alright?
I wear my glasses.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kirby, but next time you wrestle, don't wear glasses.
I'm not trying to wrestle again, Mr. Klinkoff.
I think you'd better sit down, Father.
Yes, maybe I might.
How could you do such a thing? Why didn't anybody stop him?
I think perhaps we'd better be going.
Mother!
Mrs. Kirby, please don't go. Mr. Kirby, I ordered some plain salad and scrambled eggs. Just don't go.
I'm sorry if I did something wrong, and I apologize.
That's all right. It's quite all right.
Yes, of course it is. It's alright, Alice. We're not going.
well, that was exciting for a minute, wasn't it?
You were telling us about your orchids, Mr. Kirby.
I'm afraid I've quite forgotten about my orchids.
Tell you how sorry I am, Mr. Kirby.
What did I do that was so terrible? Did I kill him? No. But this is a bad thing if I did, huh?
Please, think off.
I'm sure dinner won't be any time at all now. Would you like some candy while you're waiting, Mr. Kirby? They're freshly made.
No, thank you, my dear. My doctor does not permit me to eat candy.
But these are nothing, Mr. Kirby. Just coconut marshmallow pie.
I see. Please. Round. Oh, Miss Alice. Excuse me.
What is it, Reba?
The eggs. They don't fell down the sink. Well, make some more, quick. I'm done. Send Bella for some more. All right. And tell him to hurry. There might be a slight delay in dinner, but it should be out any second.
Arcane.
Whoosh.
I've certainly put you through a lot of trouble with my stupidity.
Oh, no, not at all, Tony.
Look! Why don't we play a game of short while we're waiting?
Yes, of course, that'd be fine.
A wonderful idea for a game. Now, you see, it involves a glass of water and...
No, Mr. Kalinkov!
But I'm sure Mr. and Mrs. Kirby would love this game. It's perfectly harmless.
Mother, please.
afraid I'm not very good at games, Mrs. Sycamore.
Oh, but any fool can play this game, Mr. Kirby. All you do is write your name on a piece of paper.
But Mother, Mr. and Mrs. Kirby.
Oh, I'm sure they'll love it. Now, here you are, Mr. Kirby. Write your name on this piece of paper. And Mrs. Kirby, you do the same on this one.
Mother, what is this game?
Oh, I used to play it at school. It's called Forget-Me-Not. Now, here you are, Grandpa. Now, I'm going to call out 5 words, just anything at all. And as I say each word, you are to put down the first thing that comes into your mind. Is that clear? For instance, if I call out grass, you might put down green, just whatever you think of, see? Or if I call out chair, you might put down table. It shows the reactions people have to different things. Oh, you see how simple it is, Mr. Kirby?
Come on, Father, be a sport.
Very well, I shall be happy to play it.
Now, everybody ready? Now, you must play fair. Put down the first thing that comes into your mind. Oh, do you understand, Mr. Kirby?
I understand.
Everybody ready? All right. The first word is potatoes. Potatoes. Ready for the next one? Bathroom.
Mother.
Bathroom. Got that? All right. The next word is lust.
Mother.
Oh, nonsense, Alice. That word's all right.
Mother, it's not all right.
Oh, I don't know. It seems like a perfectly fair word to me.
Oh, you see, Alice? Now you mustn't interrupt the game.
Excuse me, Mrs. Sycamore, what was that last word again?
Lust, Mr. Kirby.
I've got it.
This is quite a game, isn't it?
Oh, shh, Grandpa. All right, the next word is honeymoon. Now, Essie. All right, the last word is sex.
Mother, please.
Everybody got sex? All right. Now, give me your papers. Give me your. Now, may I have your paper, Mr. Kirby?
What happens now?
Oh, now is the best part. Now, I read out your reactions.
Oh, I see. It's really quite an interesting game.
Oh, I knew you'd like it. I'll read your paper first, Mr. Kirby. Oh, listen, everybody. This is Mr. Kirby's paper first. Potatoes. Steak. Oh, that's very good. See how they go together? Steak, potatoes.
Oh, yeah.
I just happened to think of it.
Oh, it's very good. Bathroom. Toothpaste. Oh, wow. Lust. Unlawful. Now, isn't that a nice one?
Yeah.
Honeymoon. Trip. Of course.
Yeah.
And sex. Male. Oh, of course you are. That's a very good piece of paper, Mr. Kirby.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, it's really more than just a game, isn't it? It's more of an experiment in psychology.
Oh, yes, it shows how your mind works. Now we'll see how Mrs. Kirby's mind works. Listen, everybody, this is Mrs. Kirby's potatoes. Starch. Oh, I know just what you mean, Mrs. Kirby. Oh, dear. Bathroom, Mr. Kirby. Bathroom, Mr. Kirby.
Well, I don't quite follow, my dear.
Oh, I don't know. I just thought of you in connection with it. After all, you are in there a good deal. Bathing, shaving. Well, you do take a long time.
I hadn't realized I was being selfish in the matter. Go on, Miss Sycamore.
I think it's a very silly game, and we have to stop it.
Yes.
No, go on, please.
Oh, where was I? Ah, yes. Lust, human.
Really, Mary? Human?
I just meant, Anthony, that lust, after all, is a human emotion.
I wouldn't agree with you, Miriam. Lust is not a human emotion, it's depraved.
Very well, Anthony. I'm wrong.
Really, it's the most pointless game. Suppose we play 20 questions.
Yes.
Oh no, I find this game rather interesting. Will you go on, Miss Sycamore? What was the next word?
Honeymoon.
I guess. What was Mrs. Kirby's answer?
Ah! Honeymoon! Doll!
Did you say dole?
I don't know, Anthony. Hot Springs wasn't very gay that season. All those old people just sitting around on swings and nothing to do at night.
That was not your reaction at the time, as I recall it.
Father, this is only a game.
A very illuminating game, Tony. Go on, Miss Sycamore.
Oh, this one's all right, Mr. Kirby. Sex, Wall Street.
Wall Street. What did you mean by that, Miriam?
I don't know what I meant, Anthony.
Well, you must have meant something, or you wouldn't have put it
It
down.
was the first thing that came into my mind.
But what does it mean? Sex, Wall Street.
I don't know what it meant. It's that you're just always talking about Wall Street. Even, I don't know what I meant. Would you mind terribly, Alice, if we didn't stay for dinner? This game has given me a headache.
Ah, yes. Maybe better if you postpone the dinner a little while.
I understand, Mrs. Kirby.
Oh, but you'll be coming tomorrow night, won't you?
We have an engagement tomorrow night.
Ah, yes. Maybe it would be better if we postpone the whole event a little while with the, weather.
Well, I don't. I think we ought to stay.
I have a very bad headache, Tony.
Come now, Tony. I'm sure everyone understands.
Well, I don't. I think we ought to stay.
No, Tony.
What?
We were fools to ever think that this would work. And Mr. Kirby, I will not be coming to work tomorrow. I won't be coming back at all.
Alice, what do you mean?
I'm sorry, my dear. Truly, truly sorry. Are you ready, Miriam?
Yes.
Darling, you mustn't mind this.
Now, it's been very nice to have met you all.
Oh, yes, it's been, lovely.
Are you coming, Tony?
No, Father, I'm not.
Very well. Your mother and I will see you at home. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Stay right where you are, everybody.
Oh, what
Don't
now?
move.
Oh, good heavens!
How dare you? Why? What does this mean?
But what is all this?
I demand an explanation.
Keep your mouth shut, you! Which one is it? This is him.
Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh,
what do you mean?
Grandpa, what is this?
This is an outrage.
Shut up! What's your name?
Edward Carmichael, I haven't done anything.
You haven't, huh?
This seems rather high-handed to me, officer. What's it all about?
Department of Justice.
Oh my goodness, J-Man! And what have you done?
Did anything? What's the boy done, officer?
What is this? What is this?
That door lead to the cellar?
Yes, it does.
Mac!
Yes, sir.
Jim! Yes, sir. Tom!
Yes, sir.
Take a look upstairs and see what you find. Yes, sir.
I haven't done anything.
Come here, you. Ow! You see these before? They're my circular! You print the stuff, huh? Yes, sir! Put them into boxes of candy to get them into people's homes?
The love
But
dream.
it didn't mean anything. It did, huh? Dynamite the Capitol. Dynamite the White House. Dynamite the Supreme Court. God is the state. The state is God. But I didn't mean anything. I just like to print, don't I, Grandpa?
Yes, officer. The government's in no danger from it. Printing's just his hobby, that's all. He prints anything.
He does, eh?
I've never heard of such nonsense.
I'm not going to just stand here and...
Let me get my pipe, will you? Let me get my pipe!
Shut up, you. You're right, Chief. You got that gunpowder down there to blow up the Capitol.
Keep still! Everybody in this house is under arrest!
Officer, this is all nonsense.
I need to get my pipe! I left it in
Shut up, you!
It seems to me...
Shut up!
My mother!
After spending the night in jail, the defendants, 13 in all, were brought before Judge Callahan and given suspended sentences for manufacturing fireworks without a permit.
Yeah, kept me in the same cell with a stripteaser from a burlesque show.
I was in the cell with Mr. Kirby. He was mad.
Well, Mrs. Kirby and the stripteaser, it was fighting all day.
A whole lot about Mr. Kirby here. Anthony W. Kirby, head of Kirby & Co., 62 Wall Street, who was among those apprehended, declared that he was in no way interested in the manufacturing of fireworks, but refused to state why he was on the premises at the time of the raid. Mr. Kirby is the head of the Union Club, the Raft Club, the Harvard Club, and the National Geographic Society. My ship needs a plan.
All the rich men or else or something.
I guess after all this, hi, Mr. Buchanan. You okay?
There's nothing left. Look!
How's your hand, Mr. DePina? Better?
Oh, it's better. Just got a little hurt. Is there some more olive oil out there?
Yes, in Salvo.
Well, she's going. Nothing anybody said could convince her.
She's not going to be away that long now, is she, Miss Silver?
I don't know, Reba.
My, you'd be lonesome without her here.
How are you, Mrs. Sycamore?
Oh, I'm all right, Donald. Just a little upset, that's all. Maybe if I do some work, I'll feel better.
You do that.
She's going, Penny.
Yeah.
I don't know, Penny.
I can't help it, Paul. Oh, somehow I feel it's our fault.
It's mine more than yours. All these years I've just been going along enjoying myself, and maybe I should have been thinking more about Alice.
Don't say that, Paul. You've been a wonderful father and husband, too.
No, I haven't. Maybe if I'd gone ahead and been an architect, I don't know, something Alice could have been proud of. I felt that all last night looking at Mr. Kirby.
But we've been so happy, Paul.
I know, but maybe that's not enough. I used to think it was, but I'm all kind of mixed up now.
What time is she going?
Pretty soon. Train leaves at 7:30.
Oh, if only she'd see Tony. Maybe he could
But
convince her.
she won't, Penny. He's been trying all day.
Where is he now?
I don't know. I suppose walking around the block again. Anyhow, she won't talk to him.
Well, maybe Tony can catch her as she's leaving.
It won't help, Penny.
No, I suppose not. I feel so bad for Tony, too. Well, Grandpa?
Now, Penny, let the girl alone.
But, Grandpa!
Suppose she goes to the Adirondacks. She'll come back. You can take just so much Adirondacks, and then you come home.
But it's just so awful, Grandpa.
In a way, but it has a bright side, too.
How do you mean?
Well, Mr. Kirby getting into that patrol wagon for one thing, and the expression on his face when he and Donald had to take a bath together. I'll never forget that if I live to be 100. And I warn you people, I intend to if I can have things like that going on.
Oh, it was even worse with Mrs. Kirby. When the matron stripped her, there was a burlesque dancer there singing strip songs while Mrs. Kirby undressed.
I'll bet you Bar Harbor is going to seem pretty dull to the Kirbys this summer. Need any help, Alice?
No, thanks, Grandpa. Oh, Alice, dear.
Now, Penny.
I'll bring the big bag down as soon as you're ready, Alice.
Thank you, Ed.
Do you want some candy along for the train, Alice?
No, thanks, Essie.
Oh, really? Alice, you could be just as alone here as you could up in the mountains. You could stay up in your room all the time.
No! I just need time away from everybody. I love you, you know that. I just need some time. All right? Father, did you phone the cab?
No, I didn't know you wanted one.
I told Mr. DePinna to tell you, Paul. Didn't he tell you?
He told me that I forgot.
I wish I lived with a family that didn't always forget everything. That behaved like other families do. I'm sick of the cornflakes. I'm sick of Donald. Why can't we be like other families? You know, roast beef, 2 green vegetable doilies, and a place you could break your friends without.
I'll see if I can do anything.
Tony, talk to her. She's in the kitchen.
Thanks.
Alice, you're not being fair.
It's no use, Tony.
Alice, listen, at least let me talk to you.
downstairs.
Knock the olive oil out of my hand. I'm going to smoke that fishing.
Your arm still hurting you, Mr. DePinna?
No, wait, oh, that's better.
Everything's burnt up, huh? Downstairs?
Everything. And my roaming costume, too.
I told you there was a bright side to everything. All except my 23 years back income tax.
Say, what are you going to do about that, Grandpa?
I don't know. I had a sort of idea yesterday, but I don't know if it'll work. But I think I'm going to try it anyway.
What is it?
Well,
Good evening, everybody.
Why, hello, Mr. Kulinkoff.
Forgive me, door was open. I'm sorry for coming in, but I realized you were upset tonight.
Oh, it's quite all right, Mr. Kulinkoff.
I don't think I can take a lesson today, Mr. Kulinkoff. I don't feel up to it.
Oh, but do stay for dinner, Mr. Kulinkoff. We've got all that food and somebody's got to eat it.
I will be happy to, Madam Sycamore.
Fine.
Thank you. Oh. Now I wonder if I know you well enough to ask you a great favor.
Why, of course, Mr. Kulinkoff. What is it?
You have heard me talk about my friend, the Grand Duchess, Olga Katrina.
Oh, yes?
She is a great woman, the Grand Duchess. Her cousin was Tsar of Russia, and now she is waitress in Chad's restaurant. Times Square.
Yes, I know. If there's anything at all we can do, Mr. Kulinkoff.
I tell you, the Grand Duchess has not had a proper meal since before the Revolution.
oh, she must be hungry.
And not only is it her day off, Thursday, but it is also the anniversary of Peter the Great, a remarkable man.
Why, Mr. Kulinkoff, if you mean you'd like to have the Grand Duchess come over for dinner, why, we'd be honored.
Oh, yes!
In the name of the Grand Duchess, I thank you.
Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, where is she now?
She's outside the street waiting. I bring her now.
Oh, Ed, during your time as he fits your costume, how do I look? All right?
If I can have things like this going on, I want to live to be 150.
Presenting the Grand Duchess, Olga Katrina. Sycamore. Bravo, Madam Carmichael. Grandpa.
Madame.
Mr. Sycamore. No, Mr. Carmichael. Mr. Sycamore. And, Mr. DePinna.
Your hand. Oh.
All right now, Mr. DePinna, that's enough.
That's enough, Mr. DePinna. Oh, do sit down, Your Highness.
Thank you, you're most kind.
Oh, we are humbled to receive you.
I am most happy to be here. How soon is dinner?
Oh, it'll be soon, Your Highness. Very soon.
I do not mean to be rude, but I must be back at the restaurant by 8 o'clock. I am substituted for another waitress.
Do not worry, Your Highness. I will watch time.
Thank you, Cook.
Your Highness, I think you waited at me at Child's once, the 72nd Street place.
No, that was my sister.
The Grand Duchess, Natasha.
I work in Times Square.
Quite a lot of your folks living over here now, Your Highness.
Yes, many. My uncle, the Grand Duke Sergei, he is an elevator man at Macy's. A very nice man. Oh, then there is my cousin, Prince Alexis. He will not speak to the rest of us because he works at Haiti Garden. He is in Ladies Underground.
When he was selling hot dogs in Coney Island, he was willing to talk to you.
Oh, Kolenko, our time is coming. My sister, Natasha, is starting to be a manual careless. Uncle Sergei, they promised to make you floor walker. And next month, I get transferred to the 5th Avenue Childs. From there, it is only a step closer to Stripes. And then you will see what Prince Alexis says.
I think you got him.
You're telling me.
Your Highness, did you know the Tsar? Personally, I mean.
Of course, he was my cousin.
It was terrible what happened to him, but I suppose it was for the best. We're to give it a job now.
Pravda, that is true.
And poor relations are poor relations. It is the same in every family. My cousin, the king of Sweden, he was a very nice man to us for about 10 years or so. Every once in a while, he would send us some money for it. And then one day he said, I cannot go on. I'm not doing so well myself. I did nothing.
Oh, no, of course not. Would you excuse me for a moment, Your Highness?
Your Highness, is it true what they say about Rasputin?
Oh, everybody wants to know about Rasputin. Yes, dear, it is true. And how?
You don't say.
Your Highness, we have too much time.
Oh, that is true. The owner of the restaurant does not like me much. He is a communist.
Oh, well, we'll make sure to speed things right along. Etsy, why don't you go out and help Reba in the kitchen?
I will help too. I am a great cook.
Oh, but Your Highness, not on your day off.
I do not mind. Where is your kitchen?
Right through here, Your Highness, but you're the guest of honor.
It is okay, child. Come and go. If they have some sourdough and cheese, I will make you some beans.
Ah, Blitzes, come back over. We will show you something.
Say, the Duchess is alright, isn't she? Hey, Duchess, can I help?
She's got a wonderful face for a mask, hasn't she?
And she's great, too, considering she's the Grand Duchess and all.
Wonderful what some people can go through and still keep kind of gay, too.
Yes, she made me forget about everything for a minute.
Better call that cab, I suppose.
Oh, no, wait, Paul, they're here. Maybe Tony has... Ed, will you please bring my bag down?
Don't you do it, Ed.
Ed, please.
All right, Ed. Bring it down. Do you know that you've got the stubbornest daughter in all 48 states?
That must be the cab.
If it is, it's wonderful service.
Is Tony here, Alice?
Yes, he is. Come in, Mr. Kirby.
Good evening.
How do you do?
How do you do? Forgive my intruding, but Tony, I'd like you to come home with me. Your mother is very upset.
Very well, Father. Goodbye, Alice.
Goodbye, Tony.
I need hardly say that this is as difficult for Mrs. Kirby and myself, but I'm sure you understand.
Oh, yes. But in a way, no. Now, I'm not the kind of person who tries to run other people's lives, but I don't think these two young people have as much sense as you and I.
Grandpa, will you please not do this?
I'm just talking to Mr. Kirby, Alice. A cat can look at a king, can't he?
Oh, do you want me to do that for you, Alice?
No. You've got quite a while before the train leaves, Alice.
Will you please send a cab to 761 Claremont right away, please? That's right.
Alice?
Are you coming, Tony?
Yes, Father.
Mr. Kirby, I suppose after last night you think this family is kind of crazy.
No, I wouldn't say that. Although I'm not accustomed to going out to dinner and spending the night in jail.
Well, you've got to remember, Mr. Kirby, that you came on the wrong night. Now, tonight, I'll bet you nothing will happen at all.
Mr.
Maybe.
Vanderhoff, it was not merely last night that convinced Mrs. Kirby and myself that this engagement would be unwise.
Father, I can handle my own affairs. Alice, for the last time, will you marry me?
No, Tony, your father's right.
No, he's not.
Alice, you're in love with this boy, and you're not marrying him because we're the kind of people we are.
Grandpa, I didn't say that.
I know you think the two families wouldn't get along. Well, maybe they wouldn't. But who says they're right and we're wrong?
Grandpa, I only feel...
Well, what I feel is that Tony's too nice a boy to wake up 20 years from now with nothing in his life but stocks and bonds. How's that? Yes. Mixed up and unhappy. The way you are.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Vanderhoff. I'm a very happy man.
Are you?
Why, certainly I am.
I don't think so. You said last night that at the end of a week in Wall Street you're pretty near crazy. Why do you keep on doing it?
Why do I keep on? Why, that's my business. A man can't give up his business.
Why not? You've got all the money you need. You can't take it with you.
That's a very easy thing to say, Mr. Vanderhoff, but I've spent my entire life building up my business.
And what's it got you? Same kind of mail every morning, same kind of deals, same kind of meetings, same dinners at night, same indigestion. Don't you think there ought to be something more, Mr. Kirby? You must have wanted more than that when you started out. We haven't got much time, you know. Any of us.
What do you expect me to do? Do the way you do? Do nothing?
Well, I have a lot of fun. Time enough for everything. Read, talk, visit the zoo now and then, practice my darts. Even have time to notice when spring comes around. Don't have to spend 6 hours doing something I don't want to do to get 1 hour in of something I want to do, and I haven't taken bicarbonate of soda in 35 years. What's the matter with that?
The matter with that? Huh. Suppose we all did it. A fine world we'd have everyone going to zoos. Don't be ridiculous, Mr. Vanderhoff. Who would do the work?
There's always people that like to work, Mr. Kirby. You can't stop. Inventions and they fly the ocean. There's always people to go down to Wall Street too, because they like it. But from what I've seen of you, I don't think you're one of them. I think you're missing something.
I'm not aware of missing anything.
I was an idler till I quit. Used to get down to that office, 9 o'clock sharp, no matter how I felt. Lay awake nights for fear I wouldn't get that contract. Used to worry about the world, too. Got all worked up about whether Cleveland or Blaine was going to be elected president. Seemed awful important at the time, but who cares now? What I'm trying to say, Mr. Kirby, is that I've had 35 years that nobody can take away from me, no matter what they do to the world, see?
Yes, I do see. And it's a very dangerous philosophy, Mr. Vanderhoff. It's un-American. And it's exactly why I'm opposed to this marriage. I don't want my dearest Tony to come under its influence.
What's the matter with it, Father?
The matter with it? Why, it's downright communism, that's what it is.
You didn't always think so.
I most certainly did. What are you talking about?
I'll tell you what I'm talking about. You didn't always think so because there was a time when you wanted to be a trapeze artist.
Why, don't be an idiot, Tony.
Oh, yes, you did. I came across those letters you wrote to grandfather. Do you remember those?
No! How dared you read those letters? How dared you?
Isn't that wonderful, Mr. Kirby? Did you wear tights?
Why, certainly not. I was 14 years old at the time.
Yes, but at 18, you wanted to be a saxophone player, didn't you?
Tony?
And at 21, you ran away from home because grandfather wanted you to get into the business. It's all down there in black and white. You didn't always think so.
Well, well, well.
I may have had silly notions in my youth, but thank God my father knocked them out of me. I went on with the business and forgot about them.
Not altogether, Father. There's still a saxophone in the back of your clothes closet.
There is.
That's enough, Tony. We'll discuss this later.
No! I want to talk about it now. I think Mr. Vanderhoff is right. Dead right. I'm never going back up to that office. I've always hated it, and I'm not going on with it. And I'll tell you something else. I didn't make a mistake last night. I knew it was the wrong night. I brought you here on purpose.
Tony.
Well, for heaven's sake!
Because I wanted you to wake up. I wanted you to see a real family, as they really were. A family that loved and understood each other. You don't understand me. You've never had the time. Well, I'm not going to make your mistake. I'm clearing out.
Clearing out? What do you mean?
I mean, I'm not going into the business just because I'm your son.
But, Tony, what are you going to do?
I don't know. Maybe I'll be a bricklayer. But at least I'll be doing something I want to do.
That must be the cab.
Tell him to wait a minute, Ed.
Grandpa.
Do you mind, Alice? You know, Mr. Kirby, Tony's going through just what you and I did when we were his age. I think if you listen hard enough, you can hear yourself saying the same things to your father 25 years ago. We all did it, and we were right. How many of us would be willing to settle when we're young for what we eventually get? All those plans, what happens to them? It's only a handful of the lucky ones who can look back and say they even came close. So, before you clean out that clothes closet, Mr. Kirby, I think I'd get a few good hours in on that section.
Before I make cleanses, how many would there be for dinner?
Oh, Your Highness, allow me. This is Mr. Anthony Kirby Jr., Anthony Kirby and Mr. Kirby Jr. The Grand Duchess Olga Katrina.
SAHS, how do you do?
Well,
before I make blintzes, how many will there be for dinner?
Oh, I'd make quite a stack of them, Your Highness. Can't ever tell.
Good. The Tsar always told me, Olga, do not be stingy with the blintzes.
Pardon me, Mr. Vandross. Who did you say that was?
Oh, the Grand Duchess Olga Katrina. She's cooking dinner.
Oh.
And speaking of dinner, Mr. Kirby, why don't you and Tony both stay?
Oh, why, yes! We have everything that we were going to have last night. I mean, tonight.
What do you think, Mr. Kirby? Well, looks like we're going to have pretty good dinner and kind of give us a good chance to get acquainted. Why not stay?
How about it, Father? Are we
Why-
staying for dinner?
Why, Tony, if you'd care to, I'd like to very much.
Now, if Alice would send away that cab, Mr. Vanderhoff.
How about it, Alice? Going to be a pretty nice crowd. Don't you think you ought to stay?
I'm staying, Alice. The families ought to get to know each other, don't you think?
Mr. Kirby, Tony,
Darling.
Grandpa, you're wonderful.
I've been telling you that for years.
Grandpa, here's a letter for you. It was in the icebox.
How do you do, Mr. Kirby?
How do you do?
What is it, Grandpa?
Really? Oh, the United States government.
And?
The United States government apologized. I don't owe him a nickel. It seems I died 8 years ago. Remember the milkman, Charlie, buried under my name?
Yes.
Well, I told them that they made a mistake, and I was Martin Vanderhoff Jr., so they're very sorry, and I may even get a refund.
My grandpa, you're an old crook.
Sure.
Excuse me, Mr. Vanderhoff. How did you say you escaped the, income tax?
Tonight, my friends, you are going to...
How do you do?
What happened to him?
He relaxed.
Oh, I think dinner's going to be coming along pretty soon. Everybody, take your seats. Oh, do sit down, Mr. Kirby. Oh, Essie, stop dancing and come to dinner.
When they sit down to eat in Russia,
Oh, but about Russian food, you must be careful of your indigestion, Mr. Kirby.
Nonsense, I haven't any indigestion.
So, Miss Sycamore, how are the Adirondacks?
What's your face, Mr. Kirby?
Quiet, quiet. Well, sir, here we are again. Looks as if things are going to be pretty fine. Alice is going to marry Tony, and it seems as if they're going to be very happy. Of course, the fireworks blew up, but that was Mr. DePinna's fault, not yours. And we've all kept our health, and we're certainly much obliged. Thus, thank you.
Oh, Mr. Kirby, do you like roast goose? We have roast goose for dinner.
Why, it's my favorite.
Well, here go that on that.
And a very good thing, too.
minute, dearie, just a minute.
Oh, the only thing is, I hope you won't mind my mentioning this, but you don't drink when you're acting. Do you, Miss Wellington? I'm just asking, of course.
I'm glad you brought it up. Once the play opens, I never touch a drop. The minute I enter the stage door, the bottle gets put away until revision.
You've been on the stage a long time, Miss Wellington?
All my life, I've played everything. Ever seen Peg of My Heart?
Oh, yes.
I saw it too. Good show. My, how am I aiming?
Want me to open the window, Miss Wellington?
No, to hell with the weather. Say, he's cute. Get over here.
Reba, she's just acting. Reba, just acting. She don't mean nothing by it.
Well, anytime you're ready, we can go up into my room and start. I thought we'd read the play up in my room.
All right, dearie, I'm ready. When I see snakes, it's time to wake up.
Oh dear, those are real Miss Wellington. Those are grandpa's, those are real. Oh, I hope she's not going to. Oh. Miss Wellington!
She's not like a light.
Better let her sleep it off.
Reba, Miss Wellington just passed out.
Do you think she'll be all right?
Yes, but I wouldn't cast her in the religious play.
I suppose I'll just have to wait.
You know, Penny, the next time you meet an actress on the top of a bus, perhaps you should send her the play instead of bringing her home to read it.
I wish you stopped printing and take those love drinks around. You gotta get back when Kalinkov comes.
Kalinkov coming tonight.
Yes, tomorrow night's his night, but I had to change on a pound of Alice.
Oh, big doings around here tomorrow night, huh?
Isn't it exciting? You know, I'm so nervous. You'd think it was me he was getting engaged to instead of Alice. What do you think they'll be like? His family, his mother and father? Ed, what are you doing now?
Penny, did you see the new mask I made last night? Guess who it is?
Oh, don't tell me now, Ed. Wait a minute. Helen of Troy.
It's Mrs. Roosevelt.
You know, the nice thing about these Meccano sets is you can make so many different things with them. Last week, it was the Empire State Building.
What is it this week?
Queen Mary.
Hasn't got the right hat on.
Mr. DeVito, would you open the door and see if there's a man standing in front of the house?
What? What for?
Well, the last 2 days when I've been out delivering candy, I think a man's been following me.
Ed, you're crazy.
No, I'm not. He follows me, and he stands and he watches the house.
Really? I'll go see.
I don't see what anybody would follow you for it.
Well, there's a lot of kidnapping going on, Grandpa.
Yes, but not a
Ed. Well, did you see him?
There's nobody out there at all.
You're sure?
Positive. I just saw him walk away.
You see?
Oh, there might have been anybody walking along the street. Now we hurry and get back.
All right.
What to go down on, Mr. Sycamore? Finish packing up the fireworks?
Yeah, we gotta take the stuff up to Mount Vernon in the morning.
Mother, may I borrow some paper? I'm making out a list for Reba tomorrow night.
Oh, yes, dear. Here's some.
Why? What happened to your actress friend? Is she giving a performance?
Oh, no. She's not acting, Alice. She's really drunk.
Essie, dear, you're gonna give Reba the kitchen all day tomorrow, right? Because she'll need it.
Of course, Alice. I'm going to sign some love G's now, so I'll be way ahead.
Thanks, dear. Mother, I'm going to be home by 3 o'clock tomorrow night. Will you have everything down in the cellar by then? You know, the typewriter, the printing press, the xylophone, the snakes.
And Miss Wellington.
And Miss Wellington, that'll give me enough time to arrange the table and fix the flowers.
The Kirbys are certainly going to get the wrong impression of this house.
You'll do all that, won't you, Mother?
Of course, dear.
Oh, and I think we better have cocktails ready around 7:15 just in case they happen to come a little early. I wonder if I should let Reba cook the dinner. Grandpa, what do you think?
Oh, Alice, from what I've seen of the boy, I'm sure the Kirbys are very nice people. And if everything isn't so elaborate tomorrow night, that's all right, too.
Darling, I'm not trying to pretend we are anything that we aren't. I just want everything to go off well.
No reason why it shouldn't, Alice.
We're all going to do everything we can to make sure it's a nice party.
Oh, my darlings, I love you. You're the most wonderful family in the world. And I think I'm the happiest girl in the world. I don't know anyone could be so happy. Why, this past week has just been like floating. He's so wonderful, Grandpa. Why, just seeing him. You don't know what it does to me.
Just seeing him, huh? Just seeing him for lunch and dinner, and until 4 o'clock in the morning, and 9 o'clock the next morning you're there again. Just seeing him, huh?
I don't care. I'm in love. Reba! Reba!
Nice, isn't it? Nice to see her so happy.
Yes, I remember when I was engaged to Paul, how happy I was. And you know, I still feel that way.
I know. Nice the way Ed and Essie get along too, isn't it?
And Donald and Reba, even though they're not married. Do you suppose Mr. DePinna will ever marry anyone, Grandpa?
Well, there is always Miss Welling.
Oh dear, I wish she'd wake up. If we're going to read the play tonight.
Mystical. Look what I found. Huh? Remember?
Why, of course, it's my painting of you as the discus thrower. Look, Grandpa.
Why, Mr. DePinna, you certainly aren't as muscular as you used to be.
Is there very noticeable? Aw, there's still some there.
Well, it was a long time ago, just before I stopped painting. Let me see, that's 8 years.
Too bad you never finished it, Miss Sycamore.
I always meant to finish it, Mr. DePinna, but I started writing a play one day and that was that. I never painted again.
Just as well, too. I was going to have to strip next.
Who would have thought that the day I came to deliver the ice, that I was going to stay here for 8 years?
The milkman was here for 5, just ahead of you.
Say, why did he leave anyhow?
Oh, he didn't leave, he died.
Oh, that's right.
He was such a nice man. Oh, remember the funeral, Grandpa? We never knew his name, and it was kind of hard to get a certificate made.
What was the name we finally gave him?
Oh, Martin Vanderhoff. We gave him your name.
Oh, that's right.
But it was a lovely thought, because otherwise he never would have gotten all those flowers.
Certainly was. And it didn't cost me anything. I haven't been bothered with mail, and I haven't had a telephone call from that day to this.
Yes, it was a really wonderful idea.
I wish you'd finish that someday, Miss Sycamore. I kind of like to have it.
You know what, Mr. DePinna? I think I'll do some work on it right tonight.
Say, will you?
I don't think she's going to wake up anyhow. Look, Mr. DePinna, you go down into the cellar and put on your costume and bring up the easel. Is it all still down there?
I think so.
Now, where did I put my palette and brushes?
Ah, Rabishka, my little Rabishka.
Hello, Mr. Kalinkoff. Essie's in the kitchen.
Madam Sycamore, I greet you. Now, Grandpa, what should I do with Rabishka? I keep telling her that she would make great dough dancer, but she laughs only.
No, Mr. Kulinkov. I couldn't get up on my toes. I got horns.
Rabishka, you could wear diamonds. What is that?
Oh, that? Why, that's a picture of Mr. DePinna. Penny painted.
Ah, it stinks.
Oh, I know. What do you think of that?
What is that?
Oh, she's an actress, a friend of Penny's.
Ah, she is drunk, no?
Oh, she is drunk, yes. How are you, Klinkov?
Magnificent. Life is chasing around inside of me like squirrel.
Tis, huh? Well?
I've just got a letter from Russia. They say for you stamp.
Oh, thank you.
They've sent my friend to Siberia.
Oh, they have, eh? How's he like?
He has escaped. He has escaped and gone back to Moscow. They will get him if they do not get him yet. The Soviet government. I can take the whole Soviet government because you took the Paskuta. Suka, yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Kalinkov. I'll get into my dancing clothes right away.
Ah, my Pavlova. Tonight we'll make something new. Ah!
Is he making any progress, Kalinkov?
Confidentially, she stinks.
Well, as long as she's having fun.
You sure do crack up Reba, Mr. Kolokov. She's laughing her head off in there.
Ah, she is great woman. Donald, what do you think of Soviet government?
The what?
I want to know the question. What do you think of this government?
Oh, I like it. I'm on the leaf, you know.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah, only I've got to go to this place every week and stand in line for half an hour just for this little tiny piece of paper. Government ought to be run smoother, don't you think, Grandpa?
Government ought to stop sending me letters. Want me to be at the United States Marshal's office Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Look at that.
Ah, income tax. They've got you now, Grandpa.
Yeah, I'm supposed to pay him a lot of money so as to keep Donald here on relief.
Really, Grandpa? Are you going to pay it from now on?
That's what they want.
So I can come here instead of going over there?
No, Donald. I'm afraid you'll have to waste a full half hour of your time every week.
I don't like that. Breaks up my week.
It should have been in Russia when the revolution came. There you would have stood in line. A bread line. Grandpa, what have they done to Mother Russia? The Grand Duchess, Olga Katrina. She is now waitress in Chad's restaurant. Only yesterday I ordered baked beans from her. It breaks my heart. A crazy world we live in, Grandpa.
Oh, the world's not so crazy, Kalinkov. It's the people in it. Life's pretty simple if you just let it come to you. The trouble is, people forget. I knew I did. I was right in the thick of it. Regular jungle, fighting, scratching, and clawing. Until it hit me. I wasn't having any fun.
So you did what?
Well, I relaxed. 35 years ago, that is. And I've been a happy man ever since.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Kalinkov.
Ah, Alice. I've not seen you yet to present my congratulations.
Thank you.
May you be very happy and have many children. Ah, that is my prayer for you.
That's quite a thought, Mr. Kalinkov.
Love. Love is all that is left in the world, Grandpa.
Ah, yes. But there is plenty of that.
Ah, and soon Stalin will take it too, I tell you, Grandpa.
Seems so nice to get back into my art things again. They still look all right, don't they, Grandpa?
Yes, indeed.
You are breath of Paris, Madame Sycamore.
Oh, merci. Thank you, Mr. Kalinkov.
I haven't known he was working for the WTA.
Oh, no, Donald. You see, I used to paint all the time.
It happened again. There was a fellow following me every place I went.
Nonsense, Ed. It's just your imagination.
You know it is, and it happens every time I go out to deliver candy.
Maybe he wants a piece of candy.
It's all right for you to laugh, Grandpa, but he keeps on following me.
You do not know what following is. You see, in Mother Russia, everybody is followed. I was followed right out of Russia.
Oh, of course. You see, Ed, the whole thing is just your imagination.
Well, maybe.
Ah, here we are.
Where do you want this?
Oh, put it over here, Mr. DePena.
There. Tonight's lesson, we use first movement of Scheherazade, huh?
Okay.
Oh, Mr. DePena, has something happened to your figure during these 8 years?
Oh, I don't think it's any different.
Oh, yes, Miss Wellington, yes. Oh, dear. Sorry, Mr. Kalinkov, I couldn't find my slippers.
Do not worry, my Pavlova. We have all night for it. Remember, art is achieved through perspiration.
Why, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Kalinkov? Did you hear that, Grandpa? Art is only achieved
achieved through perspiration.
Yes, yes. But it does help if you've a little talent with it. Got to practice my darts. Only made 2 bullseyes last night. Got to do better than that.
You're ready? We begin. Now, pirouette. Little higher up. Pirouette. Come, it has been 8 years now. Pirouette. Finally, I can live it. Back to music, young boy. Now, Bacha. Grandpa, you cannot relax. You cannot relax with Stalin in Russia. The Tsar relaxed, and what happened to him?
He was too late.
Mr. Kalinkov!
The Tsar has not relaxed, and the Grand Duchess, Olga Katrina, will not be waitress at Charles' restaurant.
Mr. Kalinkov!
I'm sorry, would you bother say that?
Oh, Mr. Pinham, can you pull in your stomach for me? That's right.
Little freer. Little free with hands. Little free with music, too.
Mr. Sycamore!
Free.
Mr. Sycamore! What is it, Reba? Not to interrupt me, but you're working! You can't understand! This better be important!
Good evening. How do you do?
How do you do? Are we too early?
Oh, no. Come right in. Why, we're glad to see you.
Why, yes, only we thought it was to be tomorrow night. Tomorrow night?
What? Oh, now it's perfectly all right. Allow me to introduce. This is Alice's mother, Mrs. Sycamore.
How do you do?
Alice's sister, Mrs. Carmichael. Mr. Carmichael. Mr. Kalinkov. Respite. Oh, and Mr. DePinna.
How do you do?
How do you do? Coffee? I'll take it right up.
Mr. DePinna, why don't you and Donald, why don't you go down and tell Mr. Sycamore to come right up. Tell him that Mr. and Mrs. Kirby are here.
All right. Oh.
And be sure to put his pants on.
Oh, okay. Oh, excuse me. I'll be right. Here we go.
I'll go tell Alice that you're... Alice! Will you come down, dear? We've got a surprise for you! Well...
Mrs. Kirby, allow me to take your wrap.
Oh, why, thank you. If we're perfectly sure that we're not interrupting something.
Mrs. Kirby, they're perfectly harmless. Ed, take him into the kitchen.
Of course, we're just so used to having them around the house that...
Ah, yes, I'm sorry to be such a burden, but snakes happen to
I feel very uncomfortable about this. Tony, how could you have done such a thing?
I'm sorry, Dad. I thought it was tonight.
That was very careless of you, Tony. Very.
Oh, but anybody can get mixed up now, Mr. Kirby.
Penny, how about some dinner for these folks? They've come for dinner, you know.
Oh, please don't bother. We're really not hungry at all.
Oh, it's not a bit of a bother. Ed, tell Donald to run down to the A&P and get half a dozen bottles of beer and some canned salmon. Do you like canned salmon, Mr. Kirby?
No thank you, Mrs. Sycamore. I have a little indigestion anyways.
Oh, I'm sorry. How about you, Mrs. Kirby? Do you like canned salmon?
Oh, I'm very fond of it.
Oh, you can have frankfurters if you'd rather.
Either one will do.
We'll make it frankfurters, some canned corn, and Campbell's soup. Got that, Ed?
Okay.
And tell him to hurry. The A&P is just at the corner, and the frankfurters don't take any time to boil.
Oh, and this is Alice's father, Mr. Sycamore, Mr. and Mrs. Kirby.
I hope you'll forgive my appearance.
This is Mr. Sycamore
darling, I'm the most soul-witted person in the world. I thought it was tonight.
Tony, I thought you... I'm so sorry. I can't imagine why I wasn't... Have you all met each other?
Yes indeed.
How do you do, Alice? How do you do, Mrs. Sycamore? I'm afraid I'm not very... presentable.
Darling, you look lovely.
Of course she does. Don't let this upset you, my dear. We've all just met each other right sooner, that's all.
Of course. But I was planning such a nice dinner party tomorrow night.
Well, we'll have to come again tomorrow night, won't we?
There you are, Alice.
I guess so. We better see about getting you some dinner.
Oh, that's all been taken care of, Alice.
We heard of it. No, thank you. Oh, hi again.
That's all been attended to.
Yes, but Mother, what did you find out for? Because Mr. Kirby has indigestion. You can li-
That's all right. It's quite all right.
I asked him what he wanted, Alice.
Yes, but...
No, it's not as serious as all that, just because I have a little indigestion.
Perhaps, Mr. Kirby, there's not indigestion. Perhaps you have stomach ulcers.
Please, Mr. Jacob.
Now, Mr. Kirby, please do not mind Mr. Kalinkov. He's a Russian, and Russians are inclined to look on the dark side.
All right, it is true. I'm Russian, but friend of mine, Russian, die. Stomach ulcers.
Really?
Please, Mr. Jacob. Mr. Kirby has indigestion, and that's it.
All right, let him wait.
Mr. Kirby, please take a seat.
Thank you.
Well...
Mr. Kirby, how are business conditions? Do you think we're pretty well out of the depression?
What's that? So, yes, probably speaking. Of course it all depends.
Well, you do think that things will keep on improving, don't you?
Well, as a matter of fact...
Take her upstairs.
That may seem a little strange to people, but she's not quite accountable for her actions. An actress friend, she came over and was overcome by the heat.
Why, yes, some people feel it, more than others. Perhaps I'd better see if she's all right. Excuse me, please.
Well, it is awfully hot. You usually escape all the weather up in Maine, don't you, Mrs. Kirby?
Ah, yes. As a rule, however, I came down for the flower show.
Oh, Mother wouldn't miss that for the world. That blue ribbon is the high spot of her year.
I won a ribbon at a flower show once for raising onions. Remember, Alice?
That was a garden show, I see.
Oh, yes. I think she'll be all right now. Has Donald come back yet?
No, he hasn't.
Well, he'll be back any time now. I'm afraid you must be starved.
Oh no, quite, all right. Oh, what's this? I didn't know there were any little children in the house.
Oh, no, that's mine.
Oh, I see. I guess every man has his hobby. Do you use it as a model of some kind?
Oh, no, I just play with it.
Yes.
Maybe you'd be better off if you had a hobby like that, Dad, instead of raising orchids.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, do tell us about your orchids, Mr. Kirby. They take 6 years before one can blossom.
Some of them take longer than that. I've had one coming along I've waited 10 years for.
Oh, believe it or not, I was waiting for an orchid.
Oh, stop.
Oh, stop.
Yes. Well, during that time, they required the most scrupulous care. I remember a bulb I was quite fond of.
Here we are. Did you get everything, Donald?
Oh yeah, only they didn't have any frankfurters, so I got a pickled pig's feet.
Never mind, Donald. Just put everything into the kitchen.
All right.
Mr. Kirby, please do keep telling them about your orchids. I'm sure they would love to hear it. And excuse me.
Quite an expensive hobby, isn't it, Mr. Kirby, raising orchids?
Yes. If a hobby gives one sufficient pleasure, it's never expensive.
That is very true.
You see, I need something to relieve the daily nerve strain. After a week on Wall Street, I'd go crazy if I didn't have something like that. Many men I know have yachts, just for that very reason.
Why don't they give up Wall Street?
How's that?
Oh, I was just joking.
I think it's necessary for everyone to have a hobby. Except for me, it's more than just a hobby. But my great solace is spiritualism.
Spiritualism? Why, Mrs. Kirby, everybody knows that's fake.
To me, Mrs. Sycamore, spiritualism is, well, I'd rather not discuss it with you, Mrs. Sycamore.
Remember, Penny, you've got one or two hobbies of your own.
Yeah, but not silly ones.
Now, Penny, I don't think it matters what the hobby is. The important thing is to have one.
To be ideal. A hobby should improve body as well as mind, huh? The Romans were a great people. Why? What was their hobby? Wrestling! You see, in wrestling, you must act quick with body as well as mind.
Ah, yes, I'm afraid that wouldn't be very practical to most of us. I wouldn't make very good short wrestler now, would I?
Nonsense, Bravduka. You were built for it.
How's that?
Come, let me show you. Now, get ready.
Where are my glasses?
Here they are, Mr. Kirby. Oh, Mr. Kirby, they're broken.
I'm sorry, but next time you wrestle, Mr. Kirby, don't wear glasses.
I'm not going to wrestle again, Mr. Klinkhoff!
I think you'd better sit down, Father.
Yes,
Mr. Blinkoff, how could you do such a thing? Why didn't anybody stop him?
Perhaps we better be going.
Mother!
Please, Mrs. Kirby, please don't go. Mr. Kirby, I ordered some plain salad and scrambled eggs. Just please don't go.
I'm sorry if I did something wrong, and I apologize.
That's all right. It's quite all right.
Yes, of course it is. It's all right, Alice. We're not going.
You were
Well, that was exciting for a minute, wasn't it?
You were telling us about your orchids, Mr. Kirby.
I'm afraid I've quite forgotten about my orchids.
I can't tell you how sorry I am, Mr. Kirby.
What did I do that was so terrible? Did I kill him? Not necessarily, but would that kill
Please,
that?
Mr. Kalinkoff. I'm sure dinner won't be any time at all now. Would you like some candy while you're waiting, Mr. Kirby? The rest we may.
No, thank you, my dear. My doctor does not permit me to eat candy.
But these are nothing, Mr. Kirby. Just coconut marshmallow fudge.
Please. Well, excuse me. What is it, Reba? The eggs. They fell down the sink. Well, make some more, quick. I don't have any. Send Donald out for some more. Oh, and tell him to hurry. There will be a slight delay in dinner, but it should be ready anytime soon.
Excuse me, pardon me.
Back in.
I've certainly put you people through a lot of trouble with my stupidity.
Oh, not at all, Tony.
Look, why don't we play a game of sort while we're waiting? Actually,
Yes, of course, that'd be fine.
I have a wonderful idea for a game. You see the folks, glass of water and...
wait!
Mr. Kalinkoff!
But I'm sure Mr. and Mrs. Kirby would love this game. It's perfectly harmless.
Mother, please.
I'm not very good at games, Mrs. Sycamore.
Oh, any fool could play this game, Mr. Kirby. All you do is write your name on a piece of paper.
But Mother, Mr. and Mrs. Kirby.
Oh, I'm sure they'll love it. Now, here you are, Mr. Kirby. Write your name on this piece of paper. And Mrs. Kirby, you do the same on this one.
Mother, what is this game?
Well, I used to play it at school. It's called Forget-Me-Not. Now, here you are, Grandpa. Now, I'm going to call out 5 words, just anything at all. And as I say each word, you are to put down the first thing that comes into your mind. Is that clear? For instance, if I call out grass, you might put down green. Just whatever you think of, see? Or if I call out chair, you might put down table. It shows the reactions people have to different things. You see how simple it is, Mr. Kirby?
Come on, Father, be a sport.
Very well, I shall be happy to play it.
You see, Alice, he does want to play.
Well...
Now, everybody ready?
Ready.
Now, you must play fair. Put down the first thing that comes into your mind. Oh, do you understand, Mr. Kirby?
I understand.
Everybody ready? The first word is potatoes. Potatoes. Ready for the next one? Bathroom.
Mother.
Bathroom. Got that? All right, the next word is lust.
Mother, please.
Nonsense, Alice. That word's all right.
Mother, it's not all right.
Oh, I don't know. It seems like a perfectly fair word to me.
Oh, you see, Alice, now you mustn't interrupt the game.
Excuse me, Miss Sigmund, what was that last word again?
Lust, Mr. Kirby.
I've got it. This is quite a game, isn't it?
Oh, shh, Grandpa. All right, the next word is honeymoon. Now, Essie. All right, the last word is sex.
Mother, this is
Everybody got sex? All right. Now, give me your papers. Oh, may I have your paper, Mr. Kirby?
What happens now?
Oh, now is the best part. Now, I read out your reactions. Oh, see, I knew you'd all like it. Now, I'll read your paper first, Mr. Kirby. Oh, listen, everybody, this is Mr. Kirby's paper first. Potatoes, steak. Oh, that's very good. See how they go together, steak, potatoes.
I just happened to think of it.
Oh, it's very good. Bathroom, toothpaste, of course. Lust, unlawful. Now, isn't that a nice one? Honeymoon, trip, yes. And sex, male. Oh, of course you are. That's a very good piece of paper, Mr.
Thank you. It knows something more than just a game, isn't it? It's more of an experiment in psychology.
Yes, it shows how your mind works. Now we'll see how Mrs. Kirby's mind works. Listen, everybody, this is Mrs. Kirby's. Potatoes, starch. Oh, I know just what you mean, Mrs. Kirby. Oh, dear. Bathroom, Mr. Kirby.
What's that?
Bathroom, Mr. Kirby.
Well, I don't quite follow, my dear. Well, what did you mean?
Oh, I don't know, Anthony. I just thought of you in connection with it. After all, you are in there a good deal. Bathing, shaving. Well, you do take a long time.
I hadn't realized I was being selfish in the matter. Go on, Miss Sigmund.
I think it's a very silly game and we have to stop it.
Yes.
No, go on.
Where was I? Yes. Lust, human.
Human? Really, Miriam?
I don't know what I meant, Anthony. It's just, lust is a human emotion.
I would agree with you. Lust is not a human emotion. It's depraved.
Very well, Anthony. I'm wrong.
Really, it's the most pointless game. Suppose we play 20 questions.
Yes.
Oh no, I find this game rather interesting. Will you go on, Miss Sigmund? What was the next word?
Honeymoon.
Ah, yes. What was Mrs. Kirby's answer?
Honeymoon. Dull.
Did you say dull?
I don't know, Anthony. It's just Hot Springs wasn't very gay that season. All those old people just sitting around on swings and nothing to do at night.
That was not your reaction at the time, as I recall it.
Father, this is only a game.
A very illuminating game, Tony. Go on, Miss Sigmund.
This one's all right, Mr. Kirby. Sex, Wall Street.
Wall Street. What did you mean by that, Miriam?
I don't know what I meant, Anthony.
But you must have meant something, Miriam, or you wouldn't have put it down.
It was the first thing that came into my mind.
But what does it mean? Sex, Wall Street?
I don't know what it meant. It's just like you're always talking about Wall Street, even. I don't know what I meant. Would you mind carefully, Alice, if we didn't stay for dinner? This game has given me a
Ah, yes, maybe it'd be better if we postponed the dinner a little while.
I understand, Mrs. Kirby.
But you'll be coming tomorrow night, won't you?
We have an engagement tomorrow night.
Maybe it would be better if we postponed the whole dinner a little while with the, weather.
I think we're being very ungracious, Father. Of course we'll stay to dinner tonight.
I have a very bad headache, Tony.
Come now, Tony, I'm sure everyone understands.
Well, I don't. I think we ought to stay.
No, Tony.
What?
You were fools to ever think that this would work. Mr. Kirby, I won't be coming back to work tomorrow.
Alice, what do you mean?
Won't be coming back to work at all.
I'm sorry, my dear. Truly, truly sorry. Are you ready, Miriam?
Carolyn, you mustn't mind this.
Now, it's been very nice to have met you all.
Oh, yes, it's been, lovely.
Are you coming, Tony?
No, Father, I'm not.
Very well. Your mother and I will see you at home. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Now.
Oh, good heavens!
How dare you? Why? What does this mean? What is all this? I demand an explanation.
Keep your mouth shut, you! Which one is it?
This is him.
Say, what are you doing? What do you mean?
Grandpa, what is this?
This is an outrage!
Shut up!
What's your name?
Edward Carmichael, I haven't done anything.
You haven't, huh?
This seems rather high-handed to me, officer. What's it all about?
Department of Justice.
Oh my goodness, J-Man! I haven't done
anything!
What's the boy done, officer?
That door lead to the cellar?
Yes, it does.
Max!
Yes, sir.
Jim! Yes, sir. Tom! Yes, sir. Take a look upstairs and see what you can find. Yes, sir.
Oh, I haven't done anything.
Come here, you.
Ow!
Ever see these before?
Oh, they're my circulars.
You print this stuff, huh?
Yes, sir.
And you put them in the boxes of candy? You get them into people's homes?
The love dream!
But I didn't mean anything.
You didn't, huh? Dynamite the Capitol.
Mr. Carmichael!
Dynamite the White House.
And,
Dynamite the Supreme Court.
yeah, lovely family.
God is the state is God.
But I didn't mean that. I just like to print, don't I, Grandpa?
Now, officer, the government's in no danger from Ed. Printing's just his hobby, that's all. He prints anything.
He does, eh?
Yes.
I've never heard of such nonsense!
I'm not going to just stand here and...
Let me get that pipe for you. Right, Chief, we got enough gunpowder down there to blow up the Capitol.
But
Keep still! Everybody in this house is under arrest!
What's that?
now, officer, this is all a bunch of nonsense.
I need to get my pipe. I left it over.
Shut up!
That is my mother!
For appearance in the West Side Court this morning, after spending the night in jail, the defendants, 13 in all, were all brought before Judge Callahan and given suspended sentences for manufacturing fireworks without a permit.
Yeah, kept me in the same cell with a stripteaser from a burlesque show.
I was in the cell with Mr. Kirby. He was so mad.
Oh, Mrs. Kirby and the stripteaser? They were fighting all night.
Well, what about Mr. Kirby here? Anthony W. Kirby, head of Kirby & Co., 62 Wall Street, was among those apprehended, declared he was in no way interested in the manufacture of fireworks, but refused to state why he was on the premises at the time of the raid. Mr. Kirby is a member of the Union Club, the Racket Club, the Harvard Club, and the National Geographic Society. Mine certainly is a joiner.
All the rich men are elks or something.
I suppose after all this, Miss Alice ain't gonna marry Mr. Tony now, is she?
No, sir. It's too bad, too. Miss Alice sure loves that boy.
Too bad.
What do you know about you left? Look!
How's your hand, Mr. Dependent? Better?
Yes, it's better. Is there some more olive oil out there?
Yes, it's in salad bowl.
Thanks.
Well, she's going. Nothing anybody said could convince her.
She's not going to be away long now, is she, Miss Sycamore?
I don't know, Reba.
My, gonna be lonesome without her here.
How are you, Mrs. Sycamore?
Oh, I'm all right, Donald. Just a little upset, that's all. Maybe if I do some work, I'll feel better.
All right, you do that.
She's going, Penny.
Yes.
Oh no, Penny.
I can't help it, Paul. Somehow, I feel it's our fault.
It's my fault more than yours. All these years I've just been going along enjoying myself when maybe I should have been thinking more about Alice.
Don't say that, Paul. You've been a wonderful father and husband, too.
No, I haven't. Maybe if I had gone ahead and been an architect, I don't know, something Alice could have been proud of. I felt that all last night looking at Mr. Kirby.
But we've been so happy, Paul.
I know, but maybe that's not enough. I used to think it was, but I'm all kind of mixed up now.
What time is she going?
Pretty soon. Train leaves at 7:30.
Oh, if only she'd see Tony. Maybe he could convince her.
She won't, Penny. He's been trying all day.
Where is he now?
I don't know. I suppose walking around the block again. Anyhow, she won't talk to him.
Maybe Tony can catch her as she's leaving.
It won't help, Penny.
No, I suppose not. I feel so bad for Tony, too. Well, Grandpa?
Now, Penny, let the girl alone.
But, Grandpa!
Suppose she goes to the Adirondacks. She'll come back. You can take just so much Adirondacks, and then you come home.
But it's just so awful, Grandpa.
In a way. But it has a bright side, too.
How do you mean?
Well, Mr. Kirby getting into that patrol wagon for one thing, and the expression on his face when he and Donald had to take a bath together. I'll never forget that if I live to be 100. And I warn you people, I intend to if I can have things like that going on.
Oh, it was even worse with Mrs. Kirby. When the matron stripped her, there was a burlesque dancer and they're singing strip songs while Mrs. Kirby undressed.
I'll bet you Bar Harbor's going to seem pretty dull to the Kirbys this summer. Need any help, Alice?
No, thanks, Grandpa. Alice, dear.
Now, Penny.
I'll bring the big bag down as soon as you're ready.
Thank you, Ed. Do you want some candy along for the train, Ed? No, thank you, Essie. Really, Alice? You could be just as alone here as you could up in the mountains. You could stay up in your room all the time.
No! I just need some time away from everybody. All right? I love you. You know that. But I just need some time. Did you phone the cab, Father?
No, I didn't know you wanted one.
I told Mr. DePinna to tell you, Paul. Didn't he tell you?
You told me, but I forgot.
I wish I lived with a family that didn't forget everything, that behaved like other families did. I'm sick of the cornflakes. I'm sick of Donald. Why can't we be like everybody else? Roast beef, 2 green vegetables, and toys on the tables, and a place you could bring your friends without...
I'll see if I can do anything. Tony, talk to her. She's in the kitchen.
Thanks. Alice, you're not being fair.
It's no use, Tony.
Alice, at least let me talk to you.
Where'd they go?
Upstairs.
She walked out right the minute he came in.
Knock the olive oil right out of my hand? I'm going to smell kind of fishy.
How's your arm, Mr. DePinna?
Oh, it's better.
Everything's burned up, huh? Downstairs?
Everything. And my Roman costume, too.
I told you there was a bright side to everything.
All except my 23 years back income tax.
Say, what are you going to do about that, Grandpa?
I don't know. I had a kind of idea yesterday. I don't know if it'll work, but I think I'm going to try it anyway.
What is it?
Good evening, everybody.
Why, hello, Mr. Kulinkoff.
Forgive me, door was open. Oh, I realize you were upset.
It's all right, Mr. Kulinkoff. I don't think I could take a lesson today, Mr. Kulinkoff. I don't feel up to it. Oh, but do stay for dinner, Mr. Kulinkoff. We've got all that food and somebody's got to eat it.
I'd be happy to, Madam Sycamore.
Fine.
Thank you. Now, I wonder if I know you well enough to ask of you a great favor.
Of course, Mr. Kulinkoff. What is it?
You have heard me talk about my friend, the Grand Duchess, Olga Katrina.
Yes.
She is a great woman, the Grand Duchess. Her cousin was Tsar of Russia, and now she is waitress in John's restaurant, Times Square.
Yes, I know. If there's anything at all we can do, Mr. Kulinkoff.
I tell you, the Grand Duchess has not had the proper meal since before the revolution.
Oh, she must be hungry.
And not only is it her day off, Thursday, but it is also the anniversary of Peter the Great, a remarkable man.
Why, Mr. Kulinkoff, if you mean you'd like to have the Grand Duchess come over for dinner, why, we'd be honored. Oh, yes.
In the name of the Grand Duchess, I thank you.
Oh, I'm so excited. Where is she now?
She is outside in the street waiting.
And straighten your tie and Essie, fix your costume. How do I look, all right?
If things like this keep on, I want to live to be 150.
Presenting the Grand Duchess, Olga Katrina. Let me introduce you to Madam Sycamore, Madam Carmichael, Mr. Carmichael, Mr. Sycamore, and Grandpa.
Madame.
And Mr. DePina.
Oh, what an honor, Your Highness.
All right now, Mr. DePina, all right.
That's quite enough, Mr. DePina. Oh, do sit down, Your Highness.
Thank you. You're most kind.
We are humbled to receive you, Your Highness.
I am most happy to be here. How soon is dinner?
Oh, it'll be quite soon, Your Highness. Very soon.
I do not need to be rude, but I must be back at the restaurant by 8 o'clock. I am substituted for another waitress.
Do not worry, Your Highness. I will watch the time.
Thank you.
Your Highness, I think you waited on me at Child's once. The 72nd Street place?
No. That was my sister.
The Grand Duchess, Natasha.
I work in Times Square.
Quite a lot of your folks coming over here now.
Oh yes, many. My uncle, the Grand Duke Sergei, he's an elevator man at Macy's. Very nice. Oh, then there is my cousin, Prince Alexis. He will not speak to the rest of us because he works at Haiti Garden. He is in ladies' underwear.
When he was selling hot dogs at Coney Island, he was willing to talk to you.
Oh, Kolenko, our time is coming. My sister, Natasha, is studying to be a manicurist. Uncle Sergei, they promised to make him floor walker. And next month, I get transferred to the 5th Avenue Childs. From there, it is only a step closer to Stripes. And then, we will see what Prince Alexis says.
I think you've got it.
You're telling me.
Your Highness, did you know the Tsar? Personally, I mean.
Oh yes, he was my cousin. It was terrible what happened to him, but I suppose it was for the best. Where did he get a job now?
Pravda, that is true.
And poor relations are poor relations. It is the same in every family. My cousin, the King of Sweden, he was a very nice man to us for about 10 years or so. Every once in a while, he would send us a money order. And then one day he said, I cannot go on. I'm not doing so well myself. I do not think.
Oh no, of course not. Would you excuse me for a moment, Your Highness?
Your Highness, is it true what they say about
Rasputin? Oh, everybody wants to know about Rasputin. Yes, dear, it is true. And how?
You don't say.
Your Highness, sir, we have to watch the time.
That is true. The owner of the restaurant does not like me much. He is a communist.
Well, we'll make sure to speed dinner right along. Well, Essie, why don't you go and help Reba in the kitchen?
I will help too. I'm a great cook.
Oh, but Your Highness, not on your day off.
I do not mind. Where is your kitchen?
Right through here, Your Highness, but you're the guest of honor.
Oh, child, I do not mind. Come, Colin, come. If they have some sour cream and cheese, I will make you some blintzes.
Ah, blintzes. Come, Pavlova, we will show you something.
Say, the Duchess is alright, isn't she? Hey, Duchess, can I help?
Gee, she's got a wonderful face for a mask, hasn't she?
And she's great, too, considering she's the Grand Duchess and all.
Wonderful what some people can go through and still keep kind of gay, too.
Yes, she made me forget about everything for a minute.
Better call that cab, I suppose.
No, wait, Paul! They're here! Maybe Tony has... Ed, will you please go up and get my bag?
Don't you do it, Ed.
Ed, please.
All right, Ed. Bring it down. Do you know they've got the stubbornest daughter in all 48 states?
That must be the cab.
If it is, it's wonderful service.
Excuse me, Alice, is Tony here?
Yes, he is, Mr. Kirby. Please do come in.
Good evening.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Forgive my intruding, but Tony, I'd like you to come home with me. Your mother is very upset.
Very well, Father. Goodbye, Alice.
Goodbye, Tony.
Now, I need hardly say that this is as difficult for Mrs. Kirby and myself as it is for you people, but I'm sure you understand.
Oh, yes, but in a way, no. Now, I'm not the kind of person who tries to run other people's lives, but I don't think these two young people have as much sense as you and I.
Grandpa, will you please not do this?
Oh, I'm just talking to Mr. Kirby. A cat can look at a king, can't he?
You want me to do that for you, Alice? No.
You've got quite a while before the train goes, Alice.
Will you please send a cab to 761 Claremont right away, please? That's right.
Alice?
Father.
Are you coming, Tony?
Yes, Father.
Mr. Kirby, I suppose after last night you think this family is kind of crazy.
No, I wouldn't say that, although I'm not accustomed to going out to dinner and spending the night in jail.
Well, you've got to remember, Mr. Kirby, that you came on the wrong night. Now, tonight, I'll bet you nothing will happen at all. Maybe.
Mr. Bancroft, it's not merely last night that convinced Mrs. Kirby and myself that this engagement would be unwise.
Father, I can handle my own affairs. Alice, for the last time, you marry me.
No, and your father is right.
No, he's not.
Alice, you're not marrying this boy because we're the kind of people we are.
Grandpa, I didn't say that.
I know, you think the two families wouldn't get along. Well, maybe they wouldn't. But who says they're right and we're wrong?
Grandpa, I only feel...
Well, what I feel is that Tony's too nice a boy to wake up 20 years from now with nothing in his life but stocks and bonds.
How's that?
Yes, mixed up and unhappy, the way you are.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Bancroft. I'm a very happy man.
Are you?
Quite certainly I am.
I don't think so. You said just last night that at the end of a week in Wall Street, you're pretty near crazy. Why do you keep on doing it? Don't you think there ought to be something more?
Why do I keep on? Why, that's my business. A man can't give up his business.
Why not? You've got all the money you need. You can't take it with you.
That's a very easy thing to say, Mr. Bancroft. I've spent my entire life building up my business.
And what's it got you? Same kind of mail every morning, same kind of deals, same kind of meetings, same dinners at night, same indigestion. Don't you think there ought to be something more, Mr. Kirby? You must have wanted more than that when you started out. We haven't got much time, you know. Any of us.
What do you expect me to do? Get the way you do? Do nothing?
Well, I have a lot of fun. Time enough for everything. Read, talk, visit the zoo now and then, practice my dogs. even have time to notice when spring comes around. Don't have to spend 6 hours doing something I don't want to do to get 1 hour of what I want to do in, and I haven't taken bicarbonate of soda in 35 years. What's the matter with that?
The matter with that? Ha! Suppose we all did it. A fine world we'd have. Everyone going to zoos. Don't be ridiculous, Mr. Vanderhoff. Who would do the work?
There's always people that like to work, Mr. Kirby. You can't stop them. Inventions and they fly the ocean. There's always people to go down to Wall Street, too, because they like it. But from what I've seen of you, I don't think you're one of them. I think you're missing something.
I'm not aware of missing anything.
I wasn't either. Till I quit. Used to get down to that office. 9 o'clock sharp, no matter how I felt. Lay awake nights for fear I wouldn't get that contract. Used to worry about the world, too. Got all worked up about whether Cleveland or Blaine was going to be elected president. Seemed awful important at the time. But who cares now? What I'm trying to say, Mr. Kirby, is that I've had 35 years that nobody can take away from me, no matter what they do to the world, see?
Yes, I do see. And it's a very dangerous philosophy, Mr. Vanderhoff. It's un-American. And it's exactly why I'm opposed to this marriage. I don't want my dearest Tony to come under its influence.
What's the matter with it, Father?
The matter with it? Why, it's downright communism, that's what it is.
You didn't always think so.
I most certainly did. What are you talking about?
I'll tell you what I'm talking about. You didn't always think so because there was a time when you wanted to be a trapeze artist.
Why, don't be an idiot, Tony.
Oh, yes, you did. I came across those letters you wrote to Grandfather. Do you remember those?
No! How dared you read those letters? How dared you?
What, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Kirby? Did you wear tights?
Why, certainly not. I was 14 years old at the time.
Yes, but at 18, you wanted to be a saxophone player, didn't you?
Tony?
And at 21, you ran away from home because Grandfather wanted you to get into the business. It's all down there in black and white. You didn't always think so.
Well.
I even had silly notions by youth, but thank God my father knocked them out of me. I went into the business and forgot.
Not altogether, Father. There's still a saxophone in the back of your clothes closet.
There is.
That's enough, Tony. We will discuss this later.
No, I want to talk about it now. I think Mr. Vanderhoff is right. Dead right. I'm never going back up to that office. I've always hated it, and I'm not going on with it. And I'll tell you something else. I didn't make a mistake last night. I knew it was the wrong night. I brought you here on purpose.
Tony? Well, for heaven's sake!
Because I wanted you to wake up. I wanted you to see a real family, as they really were. A family that loved and understood each other. You don't understand me. You've never had the time. Well, I'm not going to make your mistake. I'm clearing out.
Clearing out? What do you mean?
I mean, I'm not going into the business just because I'm your son. I'm getting out while there's still a chance.
But, Tony, what are you going to do?
I don't know. Maybe I'll be a bricklayer. But at least I'll be doing something I want to do.
I guess that's the cab.
Wait a minute, Ed.
Grandpa.
Do you mind, Alice? You know, Mr. Kirby, Tony's going through the same thing you and I did when we were his age. I think if you listen hard enough, you can hear yourself saying the same things you said to your father 25 years ago. We all did it, and we were right. How many of us would be willing to settle when we're young for what we eventually get? All those plans we make, what happens to them? It's only a handful of the lucky ones who can look back and say they even came close. So, before you clean out that clothes closet, Mr. Kirby, I think I'd get a few good hours in on that side.
Before I make the answers, how many will there be for dinner?
Oh, Your Highness. May I introduce Mr. Anthony Kirby and Mr. Kirby Jr. The Grand Duchess Olga Katrina.
How's that?
How do you do? Before I make minces, how many would there be for dinner?
Oh, I'd make quite a stack of them, your highness. Can't ever tell.
Good. The Tsar always told me, Olga, do not be stingy with the blintzes.
Pardon me, Mr. Vanderhoff, who did you say that was?
Oh, the Grand Duchess Olga Katrina. She's cooking the dinner.
Oh.
And speaking of dinner, Mr. Kirby, why don't you and Tony both stay?
Why, yes, Mr. Kirby. We had everything we were going to have last night. I mean tonight.
How about it, Mr. Kirby? Looks like it's going to be a pretty good dinner, and it'll kind of give us a chance to get acquainted.
How about it, Father? Are we staying for dinner?
Why, Tony, if you care to, I'd like to very much.
Now, if Alice will send away that cab, Mr. Vanderhoff.
How about it, Alice? Going to be quite a crowd. Don't you think you ought to stay?
I'm staying, Alice. The families ought to get to know each other, don't you think?
Mr. Kirby? Tony?
Darling.
Grandpa, you're wonderful.
I've been telling you that for years.
Grandpa, here's a letter. It was in the icebox. How do you do, Mr. Kirby?
How do you do?
Well, well, well.
What is it, Grandpa?
The United States government apologizes. I don't owe him a nickel. It seems I died 8 years ago.
Why? What do they mean, Grandpa?
Well, remember Charlie, the milkman, buried under my name?
Yes.
Well, I just told them that they made a mistake and I was Martin Vanderhoff, Jr. They're very sorry, and I may even get a refund.
Excuse me, Mr. Vanderhoff, how did you say you escaped the, income tax?
Good night, my friends. You're going to...
How do you do?
What happened to him?
He relaxed.
Ah, I like it.
Everything will be ready in a minute. You can sit down.
Oh, come on, everybody. It's time for dinner. Oh, do sit down for dinner, Mr. Kirby. Essie, stop dancing and come to dinner.
You see, when they sit down and eat in Russia, they always have food. Wait, you don't like Russian food, Mr. Kirby?
Oh, but you must be careful of your indigestion.
Nonsense, I haven't any digestion.
So, Miss Sycamore, how are the Adirondacks?
Shut your face, Mr. Kirby.
Quiet, quiet, quiet. Well, sir, here we are again. It looks as if things are going to be fine. Alice is going to marry Tony, and it seems as if they're going to be very happy. Of course, the fireworks blew up, but that was Mr. DePinnett's fault, not yours. We've all kept our health, and thus, as far as anything else is concerned, we'll leave it to you. Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Kirby, do you like roast goose? Do you have roast goose for dinner?
Say that.
Why, it's my favorite.
Well, here go the Adirondacks.
And a very good thing, too.